Greg Gagne is the shortstop, hitting 7th. Junior Ortiz, he always catches Scott Erickson batting 8th, and Scott Leyes, the right-handed hitter, batting 9th at third base.
And Toronto, as they have lined up in the first 2 games, the same. Candy Maldonado in left, Devon White in center, Joe Carter in right. Around the infield, Kelly Gruber, Manuel Lee, Roberto Alomar at second. John Olerud, the first baseman. Pat Borders does the catching, and he catches left-hander Jimmy Key.
Jimmy Key was disappointed that he was passed over for the starting assignment in Game 1. He felt he deserved it as the big winner. But here he is in Game 3 with Dan Gladden in the box. And the first pitch of the ball game is up high, ball 1. Gladden has 2 hits and 8 trips. Has been a big plus in left field defensively for the Twins. 2 balls and no strikes.
Very critical to keep your eye on Jimmy Key early in the game. He's working on 10 days rest. He's a control pitcher, and early in the game as a pitcher, you really want to get comfortable with being able to throw all your pitches in the strike zone.
Bluffing in a bunt and taking inside. 3 balls and no strikes, the count to Gladden. Infield and outfield, straight away for Gladden, who takes a strike 3 and 1. Ground ball to shortstop. Manuel Lee in the hole, guns it over in the dirt. Good scoop by Olerud, and Gladden's retired for the first out of the game.
Little unusual delivery. Jimmy Key will look at the ground for just an instant. Not something you'd teach a young pitcher, but he's got outstanding control. He gets it done. What a big out that is for him after falling behind 3-0. Much made of the 10 days rest. You know what he did last Saturday, or Sunday rather, in Minnesota, is pitch a simulated game on the sideline while these 2 teams were playing. He tried to go through the same exercise as if he were pitching an entire game to get sharp. Obviously something behind the home plate area. Cito Gaston visiting with home plate umpire Rocky Rowe. Manuel Lee, after fielding that ground ball, noticed something behind home plate that obviously distracted him, and that's what they're discussing right now.
Larry Barnett, the crew chief, who is working this game in left field.
You know what it might be is the banners that are hung out for championship series play. They're red, white, right there. See, when a ball comes out of that white background and you're out there in the field on a ground ball, it's very difficult to pick up that ball, and I think that's what they're going to do right now, is move it.
Most of the time when we've had bunting, which is a tradition in baseball to have the bunting around the field, you don't see it between the 2 dugouts behind the plate.
What managers would like to see more of these days is bunting on the field rather than off the field.
Rocky Rowe is behind the plate for tonight's game. Tim Welke, Mike Riley, Jim McKean. We mentioned Barnett in left field and Mark Johnson in right field.
It's amazing how many of the new stadiums, Cito Gaston coming out to check, the new stadiums, when they're first being built, they don't paint the seats and the backgrounds the right color. They're left sort of stark, and it's always a problem for players in the field.
Here are the dimensions at the SkyDome. 328 down the lines, 375 in the power alleys, and 400 to straightaway center. A lot different than at the Metrodome, where the park takes on different dimensions. But it is unique indeed here at the SkyDome. Really, call it state of the art. You're right on the money. There's a hotel here, restaurants, very special jazzed up private boxes here. This is a city in itself here.
This is something that I don't think any of us ever dreamed we would see during our lifetime. I mean, that's how spectacular this building is. You can't call it a ballpark. It is a building.
Far cry from the likes of a Crosley Field and a Sportsman's Park long time ago.
Yeah.
And they have been packing them in. 4 million, the first team ever to draw 4 million in home attendance in the history of baseball. It's been a great baseball town. Now we're set to go. Chuck Knobloch, who's off to a good start in this series. Takes a ball strike on the outside corner. Knobloch is 4 for 6 thus far with an RBI and 2 stolen bases. Gruber is playing even with the bag and wide of third. Curveball is bounced back. Third base coach is Ron Gardenhire.
Mentioned the differences in the two domes. Look at how the outfielders are aligned. Recall in the Metrodome they had to play deep because they wanted to keep those fly balls in front of them. Here they can go back a little easier and see the ball, so they can all play a little closer to the infield.
No balls and 2 strikes. The pitch is in tight, 1-2 to Chuck Knobloch, who has shown the poise of a veteran, and this is rookie year so far in this series. Kirby Puckett is on deck for the Twins. Fastball hit in the air to straightaway center field. Devon White is back. He's there. He makes the catch for out number 2. And right now, let's go to the third member of our team, Leslie Visser. Les?
Dick, in the first 2 games of this series, the heart of the order for the Minnesota Twins has been more the heartburn of the order. Kirby Puckett and Ken Hrbek are a combined 2 for 15, and they've left 13 men on base. Now, Puckett says it's too soon to call it a slump, and Hrbek says, hey, I've gone 1 for 20 during the season, and no one's made a big deal out of it. Well, they have a tough assignment tonight. They are a lifetime 7 for 40 against Jimmy Key.
Ooh, those aren't the kind of numbers you want to have in trying to break out of this 2-game dearth. There's Hrbek, who is batting 6th in the order against the left-hander, as Puckett takes ball 1. Fastball in there, strike 1-1 to Kirby.
Always a lot made of players' averages in postseason play, because one of the reasons they are lower, you're never facing the number 4 and 5 pitcher of a second division team. You're always facing the best of the best. And that's why the old saying that the good pitching will shut down good hitting is usually true.
Inside. Now, Puckett has struggled, as Leslie mentioned, against Jimmy Key. But this year, Puckett led the major leagues, hitting .406 against left-handed pitchers. So Key has his number. 2 balls and 1 strike, 2 outs, nobody on base. Curveball in there for calls, strike 2. Puckett with a few words for Rocky Rowe on that close pitch on the outside corner.
This was set up beautifully by the inside fastball before. It's a backdoor curveball. It breaks a little bit around the outside edge of the plate. Most of the time the pitcher will get the benefit of that call.
That's where Borders had set up, and so the count is full to Puckett, 3-2, with Chili Davis on deck for the Twins.
You see Rocky Rowe peeking over the inside corner, as most umpires do. But sometimes you don't get quite as good a look at the outside pitch.
Gets a fastball and pops it up in foul territory. Borders and Olerud, and the ball is right behind the Minnesota dugout.
Remember in game 1 against Tom Candiotti, the hitters tried the flat-footed approach, but this is Puckett's normal swing. Watch him pick that front leg up, cock it, and drive into the ball. This is becoming more and more popular among big league hitters today. Used to be the short, Harry Walker called it pop and glide, pop and glide. Not so much anymore. They cock that leg and kick.
Again, the 3-2 pitch. Gets a fastball and another fly to center field. Devon White, and a 1-2-3 inning for the Twins. They don't score, the Blue Jays come up in the first inning, and this crowd is a lot louder than usual. Devon White, Roberto Alomar, and Joe Carter, and they have delivered in the top 3 spots. John Olerud, again at cleanup. Kelly Gruber, he's off to a terrific start, number 5. Candy Maldonado, he's looking to get going. In the 6th spot, Rance Mullenix remains the designated hitter. Pat Borders still behind the plate, batting 8th, and Manuel Lee, the catcher, the shortstop, batting 9th.
Minnesota, the same outfield. And we'll take a look at that team in the field after Scott Erickson's first pitch.
Erickson with a 20-8 record. Facing Devon White. Swings and misses on the sinker, strike 1.
There's Minnesota in the field, the same outfield. Gladden, Puckett, and Mack. A couple changes. Rookie Scott Leyes at third, Gagne at short, Knobloch at second, and Hrbek at first. Junior Ortiz, as usual, catches Scott Erickson.
Breaking ball misses in the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. To Devon White, a switch hitter, who has 3 hits and has scored 4 runs thus far. White, Alomar, and Carter have all delivered 10 hits amongst the first 3. And people said that's what the Jays have to get in order to win in this series. Bounding ball foul.
You know, if you've ever played golf at a public course and carried your own bag, you have that little almost like a towel around your bag. Look at Scott Erickson's glove. That's quite unusual. The wristband is almost like a towel. And when you perspire and you wipe your brow with the back of that glove, it's got a nice effect there to wipe off the perspiration. Unusual.
The 2-2 to White. Fouled off. Erickson won 12 straight games. And he was unstoppable and unhittable by the end of June, had an earned run average of 1.39. And then he missed 3 weeks because of a strained right elbow early in July, and it set him back. And he struggled the second half of the year, but he pitched well the last couple of starts. Bounding ball into the hole to the right side. Knobloch is there, and he retires White for the first out here in the bottom of the first inning. Idea to keep the first 2 hitters off the bases. White is retired, and here is Roberto Alomar. Also a switch hitter. He has 4 hits and has scored a couple of runs. Takes a fastball for a strike. Leyes laying in at third for the possible bunt. Sinker is bounded off to the right. Explosive fastball. Scott Erickson, 23-year-old from Long Beach, California.
Probably more movement for a right-hand pitcher. Most right-handers like Nolan Ryan and the great Tom Seaver, they have a riding fastball. Very few right-handers have that heavy sinker.
A ball and 2 strikes. Alomar gets on. He's a threat. Finished second to Ricky Henderson in the stolen base department. Swing and a miss, and Alomar goes down, and that is the first strikeout of the game. 2 outs in the Blue Jays' first.
Again, the key for both pitchers tonight is going to be to keep the ball down. There's the intense stare, and look at the rotation on that pitch, the slider down and in. Alomar thinks it's about a knee-high strike. Watch where it ends up. Junior Ortiz catches it down and out of the strike zone, just off the corner. You get by with those pitches when you get ahead in the count. Get the hitter to chase your pitch.
2 down to Joe Carter, and he fouls off the first pitch for a strike. Carter has driven in 2 runs. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th hitters in the Blue Jays lineup have driven in 8 runs of the 9 that they have scored in the series. 2 outs, nobody on base. Bottom of the first inning, no score. Fastball just off the plate.
First one to ever do that.
And he's a free agent, possibly, and if he wanted to, could make it 4 teams in 4 seasons with 100 RBIs. I think he's going to stay put here. I think he's found a home.
I can't think of a place you'd have more fun playing with 4 million people coming out to watch you play, a division champion. And another banner year for Carter.
The 1-2 from Erickson is outside. Depends whether the glass is half filled or half empty. Carter says, well, if I look at it, a lot of clubs wanted me. That's why I played for all those teams.
It is a mystery how teams continue to trade Joe Carter away despite his numbers and his durability.
Lays off the breaking ball. And the count is full to Carter. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Scott Erickson, who was passed up earlier by, well, he passed up when he was drafted by the Mets. The Astros and the Blue Jays in 1988 also drafted Erickson. 3-2 pitch hit in the air, deep to center field. Kirby Puckett back, jumps, it's gone off the wall, and it is a home run. It is off the back wall, and Carter has homered.
Yeah, it's a quiet crowd in Toronto, isn't it? Joe Carter, all during the season, hit all but one of his home runs to left field. But you get a fastball up to him, straightaway center. He's got power out there, too. See Ortiz's target, but the ball came in about belt high. Carter knew it was gone the moment he hit it. Look at the smile on his face.
Bounces it foul, and the count still 2 strikes. There had not been a home run hit in the American League Championship Series since Game 1 of last year's series between the A's and the Red Sox, when Wade Boggs went deep. It had been a long drought. 1-2 to Olerud, who's 2 for 8 and a couple of runs batted in the first 2 games. Count remains 1-2. Blue Jays lead it 1-0. Joe Carter with a home run to straightaway center field. There had been only 4 extra base hits, all doubles, coming into this game. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Blue Jays first baseman.
This crowd's getting into it. In Minnesota, it's the Homer Hankies. Here, when they drew their 4 millionth fan, they passed out T-shirts, and this fans turned them into like Homer Hankies.
3-2 pitch to Olerud, and it's outside, ball 4. Olerud trots down to first. They don't need the noise, but they've got it tonight.
Yeah.
And they've got the lead, the first blood, so the Blue Jays score first.
That's what's so impressive about John Olerud as a young hitter. You notice the ability to take that close pitch. He's a very, very patient hitter.
One of the batting stars for the Blue Jays, Kelly Gruber, takes ball 1. Gruber has driven in 4 runs, leads both clubs in runs batted in. Big 2-run single in the 6th inning of game number 2. Takes inside 2-0, and he should get a good pitch here, and Junior Ortiz calls time and goes to the mound.
Junior Ortiz, Erickson's regular catcher during the season. He's almost like an assistant manager for Scott during the game, and he'll make periodic trips out there. The reason he catches Erickson is he has the ability to catch that heavy sinking fastball and sharp slider.
Grounded foul, and he is going to help the Twins defensively behind the plate, and a much better throwing arm than Brian Harper, but the Twins lose a good bat in Harper tonight.
Yeah, it's their best combination for pitching, delivering the ball to home plate, and throwing runners out, Erickson and Ortiz, but they miss Brian Harper's bat.
Olerud, the base runner, the 2-1 pitch and a ground ball, again foul. Erickson has thrown 27 pitches so far in this first inning.
And that will take a toll already on the outcome and the way Tom Kelly uses pitchers in this game, because he's very protective with Erickson and Tapani, and when that count gets up around 100, you will not see him in the game much longer.
Kelly Gruber, who was out for a little more than 2 months with a broken thumb, still may not be 100%. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ground ball off the leg of Erickson. The only play and no play for Gagne, and an infield hit for Gruber. And the Blue Jays have runners at first and second here, and all of this with 2 outs.
That's some great 2-out hitting by Toronto. That's a breaking ball that Gruber waited on off Erickson's foot. By the time Gagne retrieved it, no play. But you go back to Carter's at bat. He took a lot of close breaking balls, got the count to 3-2, hit the home run. Olerud did the same thing, and now Gruber went with that pitch. 3 great at bats.
Candy Maldonado has drawn the collar in 2 games thus far, but he has hit Erickson to the tune of 4 for 10, including a home run. He has been the best Blue Jays hitter against Scott Erickson. See what he does here, and hits a drive left field. Gladden going back, and it's off the base of the wall. Olerud will score. Gruber will be held at third, and in at second with a double is Candy Maldonado. And they're going out to check on Gruber at third base. He may have hurt himself.
When the sinking fastball or slider stay about thigh high, as that one did, that's the reason hitters like Candy Maldonado have the success. And his success against Scott Erickson continues. Gladden realizes he can't catch the ball, holds up, plays the bounce properly, and that's the reason Rich Hacker at third base had to hold up Kelly Gruber.
Dick Such, the pitching coach for the Twins, is out to the mound as Erickson has been tagged solidly here in the first inning, all with 2 out, and it started with Joe Carter's home run over the center field wall. Then a walk, an infield hit, and a smack double off the left field wall as Kelly Gruber has apparently injured his right ankle.
You know what that comes from is on this AstroTurf and hard field, as he was coming around third, Rich Hacker had to put the brakes on, and when he hit that right foot against the turf. And so many players today with the soft leather shoes, they don't give you the same support. You see a lot of foot and ankle injuries today, more so than ever before. Right there, he may have hit it on the bag. Right there as he sees the stop sign. See him hit it on the bag and then quickly retreat, and I think that's where he got that little ankle turn.
Dick Such is heading back to the Twins dugout. No activity yet in the bullpen for the Twins. Gruber is on at third base. Candy Maldonado at second, and now we do have activity in the bullpen. David West warming up. Rance Mullenix, the designated hitter, with 2 out and 2 on, fouls off the pitch for a strike. Mullenix is 1 for 6 thus far in the series. Gruber is at third base, and Maldonado, who has been in a slump, hitless in this series, and in fact had been in a postseason slump with an RBI double, is at second. Fastball in the air. Kirby Puckett going way back, and Puckett is there on the warning track. He was playing imperfectly, but the Blue Jays get 2 runs on 3 hits, including a Joe Carter home run, and this is it. It's 2-0 Toronto.
I think he's a lot different than a lot of people perceive him to be. You know, he's very quiet, he's low-key, he likes to have fun, but he goes about his job very well. He has a lot of pride in what he does. He's a very determined young man, and very clean. That's one thing I asked him in spring training before he roomed. You have to be clean. You can't have a messy house.
Been a pretty clean and a productive house between Davis and Erickson all year.
Davis batting cleanup tonight against Jimmy Key. Switch hitter fouls off the first pitch for a strike. Key's 0-1 pitch is up high. Davis drove in a run or 2 runs with a single in the first inning in the opening game of this series, but has been quiet since then. So you look at Puckett, Herbeck, and Davis, all 3 of them looking to break out of their doldrums at the plate. Davis, the designated hitter. The 1-1 pitch to him. Got an off-speed pitch, grounded foul, and it's 1-2.
That first inning was so important to Jimmy Key. A lot has been made this year of his effectiveness when he has 4 days rest or more than 4 days rest. And now with 10 days rest, even though he pitched that simulated game, it's not the same as a championship series game. And to have command of his pitches, get a curveball over like he did just there, is a big boost for him.
He did not want to pitch in that last series here in Minneapolis. He didn't want to give anything away, and actually has not faced the Twins since prior to the All-Star break. He had that 100-pitch simulated game on Sunday, but it's not the same thing. So he hopes a little bit of a surprise here for Minnesota as Davis hits a pop foul. Olerud will chase it, but it's out of play. Commissioner Fay Vincent in the crowd.
Easy series to pack for him. You have to take a lot of foul weather gear.
This game had been outdoors. He would have needed plenty of it tonight. Grounded foul. Still 1-2. The count to Davis. He'll be followed by Shane Mack and Ken Herbeck here in the second inning. Here is Mack.
Mentioned the similarities to Whitey Ford and Jimmy Key in their approach to pitching, and there is an example of it. He teases you with that big, slow curve, but he gets a lot of outs on that fastball away. Devon White with 2 putouts already in the first inning.
Reaches out on its straight chains, and the chopper, and the ball goes foul. Took a while, but the ball finally rolled foul, and so Davis will have to come back. Todd Stottlemyre will be the pitcher in Game 4 tomorrow night here at the SkyDome, as Jack Morris will come back. Tom Kelly using a 3-man rotation. Question as far as Game 5 is concerned. Tom Candiotti might have disappointed Cito Gaston by throwing more curveballs than knuckleballs to his liking, but people are saying maybe Juan Guzman might get the call, but right now Gaston says Candiotti is still his man. But let's see what happens in the next couple of games.
He's got a couple of games to decide. That's Dave Stieb along with Todd Stottlemyre in the background of your picture there. Stieb, of course, not active, but a member of this organization for so many years and trying to enjoy this series from the bench.
Strike 3. Fastball. Davis, they have been expecting the breaking pitch. He takes a strike, and the first strikeout of the game for Jimmy Key.
Early in the game, pitchers and hitters, again, the unusual windup of Key looking at the ground. Pitchers and hitters want to get an indication of what Rocky Road's strike zone is going to be. Key needs the knee-high strike, as Erickson does. That was at the knees. Strike call. Davis will go back to the bench. Tell him about that fastball.
Shane Mack, the batter, takes ball 1. Mack has driven in a run in this series. Fouls it out of play. Mack has moved up from the 7th slot to number 5 for this game. Had a terrific second half to cap a career year, but in the last 23 games had driven in only 2 runs. Shane trying to get on track as well as some of the others in the Twin lineup. 1-1 pitch is in tight, and the count 2-1.
Hitters oftentimes will use the expression, he hides the ball. Boy, Key does that well, the way he turns away from the hitter, doesn't give them a real good look at it coming out of his glove and hand.
Breaking ball, back to the mound, and Key makes the play. 2 down here in the second inning. Ken Herbeck coming up. He's been having problems at the plate, and here's his reaction.
It's 2 games. I go 1 for 10 or 1 for 20 during the season. Nobody seems to ask me any questions, but of course this is magnified, so we're going to start asking questions. We can't hit. What's wrong? We're in a slump. Just had a couple games where we didn't swing the bats very well. We won 1 and lost 1. That's pretty good, I think, if we are 3, 4, and 5 hitters on hitting the ball and you still win ball games.
That's for sure. 2 down, nobody on base. Herbeck normally hits left-handers pretty well, doesn't he?
He, early in his career, had the reputation of not being able to hit him, but the average over 280 this year. He's had more at-bats against him and more success.
Ground ball to the right side. Roberto Alomar playing deep for Herbeck, and another 1-2-3 inning for Jimmy Key. Right now, we'll be back after this.
PBS News update. The Senate Judiciary Committee has just reconvened. Judge Clarence Thomas has come back. He has come out swinging hard. He has categorically denied each and every charge made by law professor Anita Hill about alleged sexual harassment. He denied he ever asked Professor Hill for a date. He denied he ever talked to her about any such thing. He called the proceedings a, quote, high-class lynching, that what happened in the hearings are a result of views that are not in the mainstream of black thought. Earlier, Professor Anita Hill spent almost 7 hours testifying, being questioned by senators about her charges. After her testimony, President Bush's press secretary, Marlin Fitzwater, promised that Judge Thomas would, and I'm quoting now, come back out and refute the charges. He's ready to fight and wants to give his case that the allegations are not true, unquote. Fitzwater said Thomas would, quote, knock down the idea that he's going to withdraw. We'll keep you updated as the testimony goes along. For now, Dan Rather, CBS News, New York, back to the ball game.
Scott Erickson has retired the first batter. As you saw, Pat Borders on a drive to center field. Now Manuel Lee, the switch hitting shortstop, batting ninth in the order, takes ball one. But they are hitting Scott Erickson hard so far in this first inning and a third.
Thank you very much.
Fly ball to center field. Kirby Puckett has his third straight chance, and there are 2 away in the third inning.
That's how magnified averages in postseason play can be. You saw the graphic on Manuel Lee, 0 for 6, 3 strikeouts, and a walk. But the walk was so critical. That's what enabled the Blue Jays really to win game 2, the walk off Kevin Tapani.
2 down in the second inning, and here is Devon White, who grounded out to Knobloch his first time up. 2-0 the score. The Blue Jays lead. Joe Carter with a home run, and Candy Maldonado with an RBI double in the first inning. Ball 1 to White.
See Erickson going to the mound with that open hand. That's an indication it's hot on the field, players perspiring, and that's an indication the ball's jumping rather well.
Sinker is in for the strike. 1-1.
See, Devon White checking that call. Once again, the early innings, both hitters and pitchers trying to establish what the strike zone is.
Two and 1 the count to White. Erickson had solid support this year, nearly 6 runs a game. Only Dave Stewart of the A's and Bill Gullickson of the Tigers in the American League had better support. Erickson's trailing 2-0 here with 2 outs and 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Devon White in the Blue Jays' second inning.
Another quick point of reference to that strike zone with the movement that Erickson and Key both have. That ball down around the knees is very difficult for Rocky Rowe to judge as well with that kind of movement.
No problem there on that pitch. 3-2 now to White. Jays did their damage in the first inning after 2 are out. And a chopper backing up is Herbeck, and he flips to Erickson for the 3rd out. So Erickson settles down and gets the Jays in order. And after 2 innings, it's 2-0 in favor of the Blue Jays.
31 stories above the playing field. The Stars are going to have to emerge indoors this evening. American League President Dr. Bobby Brown ordered the roof closed here. He wanted the conditions uniform throughout the championships. He didn't want shadows on the field on Sunday afternoon when they play. I guess for these purposes, Dick, they ought to call it the no sky dome.
Pretty close to the sky. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Leslie.
It's Leslie.
Yep. Ooh. She's up in the sky. What a spectacular view she must have from up there. Greg Gagne, the batter, leading off the 3rd inning for the Twins, takes inside. Gagne 2 for 7 with an RBI in this series, hitting 7th in the order. Count is 1-1. Just above the knees for a strike. Jimmy Key is 7 years older than Scott Erickson, out of Huntsville, Alabama. His college baseball career at Clemson University. Hit sharply to Alomar on a hop. And now they say that he caught it on the fly. So Alomar made the catch on a line drive by Gagne for out number 1.
Interesting contrast. You see Jimmy Key almost expressionless. Look at the rotation on that changeup, like a modified screwball. Alomar catches it about a couple of inches off the turf in the glove.
Junior Ortiz on the first pitch. Hits a high chopper to Olerud, who makes the play for the second out. Quickly 2 down in the Twins' 3rd inning with the Blue Jays up 2-0.
Mentioned the contrast because so many young players coming into Major League Baseball today, products of great college programs. There's a lot more animation and expression. You know, the high fives and the fists. You won't see much of that from Jimmy Key. Very cool, very in control of his emotions.
Kind of outspoken. If he doesn't like time between starts, he'll tell the manager and tell everybody.
Hey, he likes to play.
Here's Scott Leyes. Takes the curveball for a strike. Making his first start in the series, he has pinch hit 1 time and struck out. That was in the opening game. 2 down, nobody on base. Gets another curveball. And it's 0-2. Tom Candiotti, who right now will be the 5th game pitcher for the Blue Jays after not finishing the 3rd inning in the opening game. Jimmy Key's pitch gets a fastball up in the strike zone, fouled back. Cito Gaston, who told us, Jim, before the game that his back was acting up more now.
He really has to abide by the ball player's motto, sleep in November when the season's over. You don't get much rest during the year. With his back pain, he gets about 3 or 4 hours a night maximum.
Missing outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1-2, and the crowd gave a good hand to Gene Tennis when he was introduced before the game, with the fine job he did as an interim manager when Cito missed 33 games because of the back problem. 1-2 is popped up to the center of the diamond. Roberto Alomar waves everyone away, and Jimmy Key has retired the first 9 he has faced. And we'll return to the SkyDome after this message and a word from your local station. Eastern with Pat O'Brien right here on CBS, and we'll be with you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern for Game 4 between the Twins and the Blue Jays. Roberto Alomar hits a line drive. Dan Gladden, playing him perfectly and playing him as a right-handed hitter, makes the catch for out number 1 here in the 3rd inning. Dick Stockton along with Jim Cotton, Leslie Visser here at the SkyDome in Toronto. The Blue Jays scored 2 runs in the first inning, the first coming on a home run by Joe Carter. And the first home run in the American League Championship Series since Wade Boggs hit one in Game 1 last year for the Red Sox against the A's. And Carter takes a breaking ball for a strike. '20-game winner Scott Erickson in his first full year with the Twins, and a fastball hits foul. Carter was right on that fastball.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of those. Borders did it. Gruber did it. With Erickson's sinking fastball, hitters very conscious of that ball coming in on their hands. You're going to see hitters like Carter be exceptionally quick when they recognize that pitch in there.
0-2 pitch. Is there such a thing as Erickson being too strong when he throws that sinker?
Well, I wouldn't think tonight he would be too strong, but you get pumped up and you don't throw it with as relaxed a wrist. That's why a lot of times sinker ball pitchers, as the game wears on, they get in a little better rhythm. Bring that ball from the thighs down to the knees.
Side of the infield, playing Carter to pull and deep. Good fastball swung on and missed, and Carter goes down. That is the second strikeout for Erickson, and there are 2 down here in the Blue Jays' third.
That's when you've got pretty good gas on the ball, when you get by with a pitch right here, which is kind of in the hitter's zone. Watch where this pitch comes in. Inside part of the plate. Joe Carter looked back, said, how'd I miss that? That was in my zone.
2 down to John Olerud. Olerud walked and scored the second Blue Jays run in the first inning. Good sinker, catches the outside edge. 1-1.
You know, most of the time, big league ball players want the nice high stirrup socks. This is another extension of Scott Erickson's black Day of Death. No white showing on the socks.
2-1 to Olerud. Foul tipped into the glove of Ortiz. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Olerud, filling big shoes from the power hitter Fred McGriff, who was traded to San Diego in that offseason trade. Full count to Olerud, who walked his first time up. 2-0 in favor of the Blue Jays. 1-1 in the American League Championship Series. And Olerud walks for the second time.
Those 2 at-bats, a pretty good indication why Toronto is so high on him as a hitting prospect. Not many young hitters that patient and lay off that pitch.
Kelly Gruber was safe on an infield hit. Back to the box in the first inning. Strike 1 to Gruber.
Again, the sinking action down and in, and you're going to see the hitters try to turn on that very quickly. You see Gruber's hips pop out of the way. Doesn't want to get hit on the hands, on the handle.
Fouled off, and Erickson jumps ahead of Gruber 2 strikes. Cito Gaston urging on his third baseman. Erickson ran into trouble with 2 outs in the first inning, but the Blue Jays scored their 2 runs. Now Olerud walked after 2 are out here in the third. Setting up outside, and a ground ball hit to the shortstop. Gagne gets the force, and the side is retired. The Blue Jays lead 1, and after 3 complete here at the SkyDome, it's Toronto 2 and Minnesota 0.
Sponsored by Budweiser.
Joe Carter with the first home run in American League Championship Series play in 50 innings. Candy Maldonado got his first hit and made it count for the Blue Jays, and Jimmy Key has retired the first 9 batters at base. Over the center field fence for Joe Carter, as Erickson was tagged solidly in the first inning, and 2 of the outs in the second inning were hit hard. But now the Twins come up in inning number 4. Dan Gladden, who bounced out to short his first time up. Looks at a breaking ball outside, ball 1.
More so today than any other time in big league baseball, hitters will make adjustments at bat to at bat. A lot of it because of video. They go over tape after tape, how a pitcher pitches them in certain at bats, try to make the adjustment in the next one.
That's in for the strike, 1-1. Gladden has reached base safely in each of Minnesota's 14 playoff games since the '87 championship year. Ground ball hit right at Manuel Lee. 10 in a row set down by Jimmy Key. 1 down in the 4th.
Both pitchers have had similar seasons. Look at Jimmy Key's quick start, 10-4 before the All-Star break, and a great ERA. No physical problems after the All-Star break. Cito Gaston thinks he quit using all of his pitches, became more of a fastball pitcher. ERA over 4, but his last 2 starts, both against the Angels, very effective.
Here's Chuck Knobloch. Takes ball 1 low. In his only start against the Twins, Jimmy Key was beaten 1-0 on July the 4th. He is 2-2 lifetime, however, against Minnesota. Curveball off the plate, 2-0 now to Knobloch, who fly to center his first time up. Knobloch led American League rookies in many offensive categories this year. That's low, 3-0. He relies on pinpoint control, but he's fallen behind Chuck Knobloch, not the man you want to walk with Kirby Puckett and Chili Davis, the next 2 hitters here in the 4th. Taking all the ways for a strike.
And that's probably what you'll see him do in this at-bat if Chuck Knobloch hits the ball, either to center or to right. They don't try to pull Jimmy Key.
Grounded to third base. Gruber retires Knobloch after Key had fallen behind 3-0, and there are 2 down in the 4th inning.
And that's why hitters try not to pull him. Gladden grounded out to short. That's the pitcher getting the hitter to hit his pitch. Instead of waiting back and hitting it the other way, you get the nice ground balls to the infielders.
There have been 6 ground outs so far. That's a good sign against Jimmy Key. Getting that ball down low. Kirby Puckett hit it in the air, fly to center field his first time. 1-0 to Puckett.
Tried again to backdoor that curveball to Puckett. Catch the outside edge. Came out a little early.
Fastball driven into right center field. Chasing it is Devon White, and it's between Carter and White, and Kirby Puckett will be safe at second with a double. And the first base runner and first base hit for the Minnesota Twins after Jimmy Key had retired the first 11 batters he faced.
Gladden and Knobloch did not make the adjustment. Puckett did. You see the spin on that sinker on the outside part. You try to pull this ball, it's a ground ball to either Gruber or Manuel Lee. Puckett goes the other way. It's a double.
And that's the kind of style that changed Kirby Puckett from a home run hitter to a high average hitter in the last several years.
That's why managers will say it's so difficult to position him in the field. Almost have to play him straight away because he hits the ball hard to all fields.
So a chance for Chili Davis to bring the Twins close. They're trailing 2-0. Davis took a called third strike. Curveball. 1-0 the count. That was Puckett's second hit of this series. And no strikes to Davis.
Toronto has a 2-run lead, but notice Joe Carter still playing very shallow and right. He can do this because of Devon White's great speed in center. Gives him a little better shot at throwing Puckett out on a ground ball single to right field.
High foul ball. Olerud will chase it, but it's out of play. Of course, Carter was playing that way in the first game of the series at the Metrodome, where you can't take your eye off the ball, and the ball sailed over his head for extra bases. Different here.
You can play outfield the old-fashioned way. Listen to the crack of the bat, run to the spot where you think the ball is going to be, look up, make the catch. Like your old hero Willie Mays used to do.
Basket catch, huh? Haven't seen many players use that since him. 2 balls and a strike. Reaching out on a ground ball. Gruber cuts in front of Lee to throw to first. And Puckett's double is wasted But the Twins get their first hit and leave one. After 3.5 innings, it's 2 pitchers, and I'm going to give Jim Cott the ball right now to explain.
Well, this is the two-seamer, the two-seam fastball that Jimmy Key is probably using. The four-seamer make you ride the ball. And Scott Erickson will go just between the two. He's sort of right there. This is the two-seamer. That's the four-seamer where you can ride it. And then that off-center is the way Erickson throws his sinker. That's the ways that pitchers get the movement on the ball.
Andy Maldonado swings and misses. 1 ball and 1 strike. Maldonado, who has not hit well at all in his career in postseason play with the Dodgers, Giants, and in the first 2 games of the series, but has hit Scott Erickson with an RBI double in the first inning. Takes inside 2 balls and 1 strike.
See a little more diving action on that sinker now. You mentioned the theory, too strong. Sometimes early in the game, pitchers just pumped up in a big game like this, and they overthrow just a touch.
3-1 now to Maldonado. Erickson has walked 2 and struck out 2. Rance Mullenix, the designated hitter, waiting to hit for the Jays. And he walks him to start the 4th. Well, Sunday, it's the NFL on CBS, featuring the undefeated New Orleans Saints as they travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Others will see the Phoenix Cardinals against the Minnesota Vikings, or the San Francisco 49ers host the Atlanta Falcons. And it all starts with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern, the last word before kickoff. Talking about Ironhead Hayward the other day and describing Kirby Puckett. He'll be in action Sunday.
Both of them will be.
Yep. Rance Mullenix with 1 out and 1 on. Tough hitter in this situation. Good bat control. Rich Hacker, the third base coach, flashing the signs.
They'll hit and run with Mullenix, try to stay out of the double play because Erickson throws a lot of double play grounders. Got the hole open between first and second.
There goes the runner. The hit and run is on, and the pitch is fouled at the plate. One ball and 1 strike, and Maldonado will have to return to first base.
Talked about Jimmy Key's season, and now Scott Erickson's very similar. 12-3. He would have been the starter in the All-Star game right here because of those numbers. Little injury to the forearm and elbow. Not the same pitcher after the break. 8-5. But again, his last 3 games, and 2 of those against the Blue Jays, very effective. There's the two-seamer.
He looks the runner back to first. Of course, a lot of people are giving Erickson plenty of consideration for the Cy Young Award. Erickson thinks Roger Clemens deserves the award. Pitch is outside, 2-1. He says the earned run average is the best indicator of a pitcher's performance because you can't control how many wins you get, and Clemens, of course, is superior there.
You look at all categories, it's pretty hard to deny that Roger is still the best, and there's 3 guys from the California Angels that are right there with him. Langston, Abbott, and Brian Harvey.
2-1. Maldonado at first. Runner doesn't go. And now it's 3 balls and a strike.
These at-bats by the Blue Jays tonight are examples of facing Erickson twice over the last 10 days. Those close pitches, they know what the movement is going to be like. They're laying off them. Early in the year, no team in the American League took that many close pitches against Scott Erickson.
3-1. Let's see what Gaston does. And it's ball 4 outside. Mullenix draws a walk. Dick Such out of the Twins dugout to talk to his pitcher. As Erickson walks the first 2 batters here in the 4th inning. Earlier, David West was warming up for the Twins. And he's getting up again in the Minnesota bullpen.
And Dick Such, the pitching coach, buying a little time as well as possibly talking some strategy. 2 on, nobody out. I would not anticipate a bunt from Pat Borders. He's very quick on the inside pitch to begin with, and Manuel Lee is the on-deck hitter, so this would not be an ideal sacrifice situation. If Lee was in the box, it would be.
Borders, who came on strong and hit many timely home runs. 4 of his 5 home runs in the final month of the season. Runner at second is Maldonado. Mullenix with the lead at first. Nobody out in the 4th inning. Jays lead it 2-0. Squares to bunt and lays it down. It's a good one. Leyes at third to Knobloch, who finally gets his foot on the bag. The sacrifice by Borders, and the runners advance to second and third.
And the Twins were not anticipating the bunt until Borders squared. You see Leyes playing back even with the bag. No special bunt play on. And Knobloch just gets to first base in time to make the catch and the play. So some unusual strategy by Cito Gaston, putting a couple runners in scoring position. Unusual in that you have a power hitter bunting for a singles hitter to knock him in.
And the Twins bring their infield in with runners at second and third and nobody out. And Manuel Lee, 1 out, and Lee still looking for his first hit in this series. Maldonado at third, Mullenix at second. Right here, Lee is looking to just make contact. 2-0 the Blue Jays. 4th inning. 0-1. Couple of walks to start the 4th, and the sacrifice. See Hacker playing his spot as the third base coach well down the line. A sharply hit base hit. He'll have to direct Mullenix. 1 ball and 1 strike to Manuel Lee.
A couple of things Rich Hacker is intent on signaling. 1, would the Blue Jays try to squeeze? 2, he's got to tell Candy Maldonado, if the contact play is on, any kind of ball, make contact off the turf, you're running.
Hitting away and hits a fly ball. That will go foul into the stands. 1 ball and 2 strikes. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Jim Cott and I will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in the player's behalf to the Special Olympics. One out, runners at second and third. Top of the order, and Devon White waiting on deck for the Blue Jays. Erickson trying to pitch out of the jam. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Erickson has allowed a run on 3 hits, has already walked 4 batters, 2 runs. Ground ball gloved by Erickson, and the runners have to hold the throw to first base in time. Lee is retired. Maldonado and Mullenix couldn't move, and there are 2 down. But Lee hit that solidly right back to Scott.
It's been that kind of a series so far. Just a bounce here. Game 2, the Blue Jays got a couple of broken bats hits. Game 1, the Twins got a couple of bloopers. Now Lee hits it solid. It's an out.
73 pitches, however, thrown by Erickson. And you mentioned when he gets to that 100 mark, Tom Kelly may have a decision to make. Here's Devon White with runners at second and third as the infield moves back with 2 away. Fastball, strike 1 to White, who's been retired twice on infield bouncers. Breaks inside, 1-1. Blue Jays left runners at second and third in the first inning after they had scored 2 runs. They have runners at second and third right here.
See a much more cautious approach by Erickson. As a pitcher, you never know when your 9th inning might come. For Erickson and the Twins, this is the 9th. If the Blue Jays get a couple of more here behind Jimmy Key in their bullpen, pretty tough to overcome.
fastball is popped up down the left field line. Gladden coming over. He has a play, and he makes the catch to retire the side, and the Blue Jays lead 2 more in scoring position. And we'll be back after this message and a report from CBS News.
CBS News update. Clarence Thomas is attacking the Judiciary Committee, attacking the process. He says he did not watch or listen to Professor Anita Hill's testimony today. Clarence Thomas said, quote, "I don't have to listen to any more lies." He says he didn't want to watch himself being, quote, lynched. He flatly denied every accusation with a broad sweeping denial, adding that he denied all details as well. None of it is true is his basic defense. Clarence Thomas, in effect, refused to answer detailed questions from Democratic Senator Howell Heflin of Alabama, but under questioning from Republican Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah, he did refute Anita Hill's charges.
Did you ever tell Professor Hill that she should see pornographic films?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever talk about pornography with Professor Hill?
I did not discuss any pornographic material or pornographic preferences or pornographic films with Professor Hill.
We'll keep you up to date as the evening goes along. Now back to the Blue Jays and the Twins.
We're in the 5th inning, and Shane Mack leading off for the Minnesota Twins, trailing the Blue Jays 2-0. Mack, Herbeck, and Gagne, the 3 hitters to face Jimmy Key. The count is 1 ball and 2 strikes on Shane, and he hits a fly ball to right field. Going back is Carter, jumping, and it is off the wall. And Carter comes up limping. He jammed his foot, and going into third base with a triple is Shane Mack. And Carter is down.
Wow, even with the high top shoes, you could see Joe Carter writhing in pain out there. He leaped against that fence, tried to make the catch, and you know that he just caught that foot against the canvas fence out there and twisted it. Tommy Craig out there quickly, the Blue Jay trainer. Mack takes the fastball, makes the adjustment as Puckett did, and drives it the other way, near a home run. Watch Carter, quick glance to see where he is, and then the leap right there. Watch the right foot. Ooh. Into the fence. And then as soon as he hit that warning track, he knew that he had twisted that ankle.
He gamely went after the ball. A lot of guys would just go down in a heap right there, but Carter got the ball in and then went down. This would be a devastating loss to the Blue Jays if Carter has to come out of the game and misses some of the series.
See, there's padding out there, a little give to the wall, so it wasn't that he hit a hard post. It was just leaping into the wall feet first. Right there, watch the leap with that front foot. Ooh, that's painful to look at. And those that have followed baseball for a number of years might recall current Texas manager Bobby Valentine practically ended his career with a leap like that against the fence in left center field in Anaheim. That's good news for Toronto fans and baseball fans right there.
You don't find many guys that enjoy the game of baseball more than that man. Well, how durable is Joe Carter? He's an Iron Man right behind Cal Ripken in consecutive games of active players.
Yeah, you knew it.
Way behind, though.
Way behind, but it would take a fracture or something extremely painful for Carter to come out of this game. Boy, that looked so painful to see him hit that fence. I think when he came down on the warning track, it may have been just almost like when you hit your heel on the ground, it get the feeling that you've jammed your knee a little bit and it quivers, and then the pain goes away.
I think as we look at the wall, we see his spike marks. And this place grew so silent. I never heard 50,000 fans so quiet. But Joe Carter is up, and we hope he's all right. What a boost he has given the Blue Jays this year, not only at the plate, but in the clubhouse as well. So Shane Mack on at third with a triple. That's the first triple of this series, and Ken Herbeck, the batter. 1 for 9. Bounced out his first time up. 2-0 the score, and the Blue Jays have moved their infield in halfway. First pitch from Jimmy Key is low ball 1.
That's a lot of excuse me, that's a lot of confidence in Jimmy Key's ability to get Kent Herbeck out. You've got a 2-0 lead.
First pitch from Jimmy Key is low, ball 1.
That's a lot of, excuse me, that's a lot of confidence in Jimmy Key's ability to get Kent Herbeck out. You've got a 2-0 lead. I think maybe you would sit back, give up the run, and stay out of the big inning.
Grounded foul down the right field line. Key retired the first 11 batters to start the game, which tied an American League Championship Series record set by Vida Blue of the A's against the Orioles back in '74. John Tudor holds the overall league championship record. He retired 14 straight in '85 for the Cardinals. 1-1 the count to Herbeck. Big chance for Kent with nobody out with a runner at third. Trying to get the ball in the air. Swings and misses. And a good breaking ball, 1-2.
And that's the reason Cito Gaston brought his infield in. Manuel Lee playing very close to second, and Alomar in a position where on a ground ball, Minnesota cannot afford to send Shane Mack.
Reaches out and hits a bounding ball. Alomar's going home with it, and safe at home is Shane Mack. And the Twins now trail 2-1. Alomar decided to go to the plate. Mack beat the throw, and Herbeck is on at first base on a fielder's choice. And the Blue Jays lead has been halved to 2-1.
Bad decision by Roberto Alomar, because on the breaking ball, look at the spin. This ball was not hit sharply. Minnesota had the contact play on. Any ball hit at that speed, Ron Gardenhire said to Shane Mack, you go. It was only Mack getting a great jump as soon as that ball hit the turf that enabled him to score and slide in around Borders' tag. And there was the disadvantage of playing the infield in and trying to cut the run off at home. Now it's a 2-1 game, man on first, nobody out.
And Greg Gagne, who hit the soft line drive to Alomar his first time up. So Herbeck is safe on a fielder's choice, but gets an RBI, his first of the series.
That's why that alignment with nobody out a bit unusual, because a lot of managers would play back and say, we'll take the out, give you the run, and we still have a 1-run lead.
Fastball in for the strike, 1-1. Gagne looking down at Ron Gardenhire, the third base coach. Junior Ortiz, the on-deck hitter. Twins catcher. That's low. 2-1.
Tough to steal against, and of course Kent Herbeck not a base stealing threat anyway, but to stay out of the double play again, Jimmy Key with all those sinking fastballs increases the percentages of Minnesota trying to put on the hit and run. An ideal count for it. Key has to throw a strike, can't afford to go to 3-1.
Breaking ball, and it's now 3 balls and a strike.
This is why it's difficult to get a jump. Watch Key's knee. Now he will cock the knee back, hang the leg a little bit. The foot does not go beyond his leg, beyond his bottom foot there. That's why he can do that, hold up the runner and still deliver the ball to home.
Here's the 3-1 pitch, ball 4, and Gagne draws a walk. Still nobody out in the 5th inning, and the first walk issued by Jimmy Key. We're at the SkyDome in Toronto, Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. The Blue Jays scored 2 runs in the first inning. First one coming on Joe Carter's home run. It was the first homer of the series. Jays got another run, but the Twins have scored here on a triple and a fielder's choice. They have runners at first and second, nobody out, and Junior Ortiz, the batter, he bounced out to Olerud the first time up.
And a bunt situation.
Squares around and bunts it down the third base line, foul. Ortiz, who collected his first major league hit against none other than my partner here, Mr. Cox.
He tells me it was a rocket to right center, and I have no doubt that was one of about 4,500 that I served up. So I told Junior he's not really in a special category.
So you started a lot of young players on their careers.
See this again, that playing the infield in opens up this inning where Minnesota can use Ortiz to sacrifice the tying and lead run in the scoring position.
0-1 pitch is grounded foul, 2 strikes. So Ortiz won't be bunting. He didn't have a sacrifice bunt this season. Count is no balls and 2 strikes.
And in this situation, as Gardenhire flashes the sign, you will see Ortiz just, Casey Stengel used to call it butcher boy. He will just lay back and try to chop that ball to right field somehow or to the right side.
Herbeck is at second, Gagne at first, and the pitch is fouled off the fist. Still 2 strikes to the Twins catcher. 2-1 game. Jimmy Key trying to work out of trouble here. One and 2. Low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Herbeck is at second base, Gagne at first, and Gardenhire, of course, has to keep a lookout in case Ortiz gets a base hit. Herbeck, not the speediest base runner, might be held at third if there is a base hit, and the ball is hit back to the mound. Key goes over to second to lead for 1, the throw to first, and they turn the double play as Herbeck advances to third. But a big double play for Toronto.
Well, things even up again in this series. Remember Manuel Lee? He hit a rocket back at the mound, and that kept Toronto from scoring. Here's a ball well hit by Ortiz. Key with quick reflexes and a nice play by Manuel Lee. He had to jump and throw at the same time. Ortiz trying to slap the ball the other way. Quick reactions by Key. That's what makes that play. And then Manuel Lee is able to leap over the sliding Greg Gagne. Right there, the throw, boy, to get that much on that throw off balance. Olerud completes it with the stretch.
2 outs now, and Herbeck is at third. He is the tying run. If Leyes can deliver, he's 0 for 1 tonight. 2-1 the score. Curveball is in for strike 1 to Leyes. Leyes platooned with Mike Pagliarulo at third base at 5 homers and 20 runs batted in this year. Pitch is outside, 1-1. Leyes had a celebrated roommate at college at Concordia College in Bronxville, New York. None other than actor Matt Dillon, who's going to be here in Toronto for the game tomorrow night.
He may attract a little attention. Neighbors grew up around the corner from one another.
There's a curve in for the strike, 1 and 2. Key can keep you off balance.
Boy. You know, the power pitchers like Ryan and Seaver and Gibson, they've sold a lot of tickets, but if you enjoy pitching, I'd pay to watch this guy pitch anytime. In and out, to and fro.
Herbeck at third, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Leyes. Reaches out and hits a roller to Lee at shortstop, and the throw is in time. Twins get a run, but they leave a man at third, and in the middle of the 5th inning here at the SkyDome, it's 2-1 in favor of the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays trainer Tommy Craig just spent the last 40 seconds retaping Joe Carter's right ankle. He said it was just to reinforce it, but Carter has had a problem with this ankle. He sprained it earlier this year. Up to you, Dick.
All right, Leslie, thank you very much. This crowd erupted when Joe Carter came up and finished the game. This was the play, the triple by Shane Mack, and Carter, after trying to retrieve the ball, went down in a heap, and there was silence for a long time as Carter was down, and he got up and finished the inning.
Now, fortunately, no cyclone fence behind that sort of a plastic or vinyl covering.
Roberto Alomar leading off here in the 5th inning. Takes a strike, 3 balls and a strike. Carter now has walked onto the on-deck circle after his ankle was taped, and Alomar leads off with a walk to start the Blue Jays fifth. That is the fifth base on balls given up by Scott Erickson, and here's Joe Carter, and he'll get a hand. Carter hit the first home run of the series in the first inning. Struck out in the third. Alomar on at first base. And there's a high drive, left field, foul. And into the third deck at the SkyDome. Well, he unleashed one there.
That's Jose Canseco in Cecil Fielder territory.
David West is warming up again for the Twins. Erickson has now matched his season's high with 5 bases on balls. Throw over to first base. Alomar, a threat to run. The Blue Jays not been a station-to-station type offensive team this year. Alomar doesn't go, and the pitch is lined down the left field line, and it's foul by just a few feet. Moment. Jose Canseco back in October of 1989.
A high, deep drive to left field. If that stays fair, that is gone. And you can tell it goodbye into the upper deck.
Off of Mike Pagliarulo. And that was the fair version. Carter hit the foul version to the third deck. 2 strikes the count to Carter. With Alomar on and nobody out in the 5th inning, 2-1 the score. The Jays lead. Team split the first 2 games at the Metrodome in Minneapolis.
You see Roberto Alomar with that unusual lean. Left hand on the hip, right knee kind of pointed towards second. And we pointed up at the start of the game, the Twins have the best combination, Erickson and Ortiz, in trying to throw Alomar out. Erickson unloads it quickly. Ortiz has a strong, accurate arm.
The Blue Jays did not steal a base against Scott Erickson this year. They had one attempt at by Alomar, but he was unsuccessful. Again diving back.
See, there's a method to this. The Blue Jays feel Joe Carter may get a breaking pitch on 0-2, and that's an easier pitch for Alomar to steal on.
Pitch out. Alomar wasn't going. Scott Leyes is deep at third and guarding the line as you would in late innings in a close game.
Joe Carter is one of those hitters, no matter where you pitch him, he is primarily a pull hitter, and thus Leyes close to the line.
Time is called. Tom Kelly is coming out to the mound. David West has been up on 3 different occasions for the Twins. There he is. He'd be ready if Kelly wants him.
Most of the time when Tom Kelly goes to the mound, it's to make a pitching change. I think here he might be a little bit disturbed with where Erickson is going with the ball. No, he's going to make it.
Plus, he probably close to that 100 pitch mark that you mentioned. So Scott Erickson leaves the game here in the 5th inning with the count 1 ball and 2 strikes to Joe Carter. David West coming in and will return to the SkyDome. We'll have a news report after this message.
friendly questioning by Utah's Republican Senator Orrin Hatch. Thomas explicitly denied all accusations of sexual harassment. This was after he lambasted the Senate committee, the whole process, including the press, and after he in effect refused to give Democratic Senator Harold Heflin any detailed answers to detailed questions. Democrat Joe Biden, the committee chairman, helped him break off Heflin's questioning at one point. Later, to one of Republican Senator Hatch's friendly questions, Thomas talked about his relationship with women who worked for him.
If you really want an idea of how I treated women, then ask the majority of the women who worked for me. They're out here. Give them as much time as you have given one person, the only person who's been on my staff, who's ever made these sorts of allegations about me.
We'll keep you posted as the evening goes along. Now back to Dick Stockton and Jim Conn.
Joe Carter has the count 2-2 and a wild pitch thrown by David West, a pitch that hit home plate umpire Rocky Rowe in the foot, and that stung him, and Alomar advances to second base with the count 2-2. David West making his first appearance in this series. Why would they bring in a left-hander, West, to face Carter with the count 1-2 when a left-handed batter is on deck, Jim?
Good question. West had success against Toronto back in July. Pitched a strong game against them.
And swung on and missed, strike three. So Tom Kelly must have known something as Carter strikes out. And here comes Kelly out to the mound. Erickson will get credit for the strikeout, and a left-handed hitter, Olerud, coming up. You mentioned that game, that July 4th affair, the 1-0 game. It was West who beat Jimmy Key in that game.
Yeah, Scott Erickson had thrown 84 pitches. And it's like Scott hit that particular barrier that Tom Kelly bolted out of that dugout, said, I'm going to make a change. Part of it was to have David West hold Roberto Alomar at first base, the left-hand pitcher. He made a slide step to try to keep him there, but then throwing the wild pitch negated that.
Carter is going to take his shoe off. They take the ankle, but it may not be totally to Carter's liking right now. He still must have some pain. They're going to put a brace on Carter's right ankle. John Olerud, the batter, he has walked twice in this game against Erickson. First time facing the left-hander David West. 1 out, a runner at second base, 2-1 in favor of the Blue Jays, and the count is ball 1 to Olerud.
That last visit by Tom Kelly was to alert David West. Roberto Alomar, the best in the league at stealing third base.
21 out of 22. Alomar has been successful trying to steal third. The count to Olerud is 1-1. There's Alomar. The infield is shortened up on the left side against Olerud, backed up on the right. There's the way the infield aligns for the Twins. That pitch is low. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. David West came over a couple of years ago from the New York Mets along with Rick Aguilera and Kevin Tapani in the trade that sent Frank Viola to New York. Three balls and a strike. There's that trade.
And the Twins rather happy with it. Frank Viola with a tough season. That 3-1 count right now, Dick, so evident of what a base stealer like Alomar can do. Not stealing the base, distracting the pitcher.
And the count, ball 4, and Olerud walks for the 3rd time. Runners now at first and second. So West walked the left-hander and now faces the tough right-handed hitting Kelly Gruber with a big chance tonight. 1 for 2. 2 on and 1 out with the Jays leading by a run. Swing and a miss, strike 1. And a hard swing by Gruber, who already has driven in 4 runs in this series. Alomar is at second. He's Erickson's responsibility. Olerud is on at first base. block, trying to keep Alomar close to second. The ball in the dirt gets away from Ortiz. The runners will advance. Alomar to third. Olerud to second.
Junior Ortiz did well just to get the glove in front of the body and keep the ball from going to the backstop. But the high hop, Alomar can move up easily, as well as Olerud. Again, of the bases that are stolen, there's still a very small percentage that score, maybe a third. But what happens, the pitcher pays so much attention to those guys, doesn't throw the ball toward home plate where he wants to.
As a result, West with the wild pitch is in a big jam. The infield is in. 1-1 the count to Gruber. Runners at second and third. And a drive down the left field line, drifts foul and out of play. Couldn't ask for a better scenario for Kelly Gruber if you're a Blue Jays fan, with Alomar on at third base, Olerud at second in a 2-1 game here in the 5th inning. This is the critical batter of this game thus far, right here.
Scott Erickson had to get a big out last inning, getting Devon White to keep the Blue Jays extending the lead. West is in the same position here.
Two and two. On deck is Candy Maldonado. Another tough right-handed hitter.
I'll tell you right now, they made a lot of what the Metrodome crowd could do to intimidate Toronto. This crowd is having more of an effect on Minnesota.
Swing and a miss on a pitch up in the strike zone, and David West gets a very big strikeout, getting Gruber out number 2 now.
That's why the left versus right situation and matchup is often disregarded by managers. David West has had good success against this team with that fastball, and he gets it by Kelly Gruber. Not easy to do.
So the infield moves back with 2 outs. A huge strikeout for David West. And here's Maldonado. His double knocked in a run in the 1st inning. He's also walked. First hit of this series. This is inside, ball 1. Scott Erickson came out after walking Alomar. He was ahead on the count to Carter, 1-2, when Tom Kelly took him out. There's a fastball on the outside corner, 1-1, and Erickson ended up striking out 2. West got credit for that second strikeout, so he has struck out 2 and walked 1 here in the 5th inning. Right down the middle, strike 2 to Maldonado, who did not pull the trigger, and the count is 1-2.
Sometimes that first at bat, if you're Candy Maldonado, you've seen the sinking action of Scott Erickson's fastball. Now all of a sudden David West comes in there with a high 80, low 90 heater. Maldonado strikes out, and David West, after a wild pitch, strikes out Gruber and Maldonado with runners in scoring position. And we'll return to the SkyDome after this message and a word from your local station.
What is Prozac?
Toronto, Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. The Blue Jays struck early. Joe Carter with the first home run of the series with nobody on and 2 out in the 1st inning. Candy Maldonado with his first series hit, a double, made it 2-0. And then Jimmy Key facing Ken Herbeck, Shane Mack at third, and on a fielder's choice, Alomar going home with it was late, and that's how the Twins scored their 1 run. So it's 2-1 with Dan Gladden leading off in the 6th inning against Jimmy Key. Looks at a curveball for strike 1. We're still buzzing here at the SkyDome after David West had thrown 2 wild pitches, struck out the side getting Gruber and Maldonado with runners in scoring position. Gladden with a fastball in tight. 1-1. He's 0 for 2 this evening.
Well, that's why the managers manage, the players play, and the rest of us watch. I mean, years ago, you bring a left-hand pitcher in to face those kind of right-hand hitters. The second guessers would be buzzing.
Hop up and foul ground down the right field line. Olerud gives chase, and it lands in the first row and bounces out. The Blue Jays have left 7 men on base, 6 of them in scoring position. So they have had their opportunities to cash in and open this game up. Twins remain in striking distance here in the 6th inning.
And if you're Cito Gaston, you get an uncomfortable feeling when those kind of things happen. You're on the verge of breaking it open with your good pitching staff and bullpen. And now, despite all the opportunities, it's still a 1-run game.
Two and 2 to Gladden. Knobloch and Puckett to follow here in the 6th inning. Jimmy Key has given up 1 run on 2 hits. He's walked a batter and has struck out 1. Misses again, and Gladden doesn't offer at it, and the count is full. He's not anxious to put Gladden on with Knobloch coming on. Gladden the best base runner for the Twins. Could get a good pitch to hit here. Here's the 3-2. Gets a good fastball. Good hitter's pitch, fouled back.
Yeah, you can see again the adjustment that hitters make. That's why when they get to the late innings, they say a pitcher got tired because he's getting hit. That's not necessarily so. Hitters make adjustments. Gladden pulled a couple of ground balls. Now that time, the pitch is out there. He's trying to go the other way with it. Make the adjustment.
Back to Key, who made a good pitch on Gladden for the first out here in the 6th. Good changeup by Jimmy Key. Two to 1, the Blue Jays lead. Game 3 of the American League Championship Series, which came in all even after the first 2 games at the Metrodome. We're in Toronto, where 4 million fans packed this beautiful edifice this year. Dick Stockton, along with Jim Cott and Leslie Visser. We're in the 6th inning, 1 out, and Chuck Knobloch 0 for 2 the batter. Curveball in there for a strike. And this Blue Jay crowd has been louder than most we've heard this year.
Yeah. And to David West's credit, his first appearance in postseason play, 2 big strikeouts under that kind of duress. Pretty impressive.
After showing some wildness and throwing 2 wild pitches. Good comeback for him. Curveball line down the left field line. Fair ball. Could be extra bases. Retrieved by Maldonado, and Knobloch is in at second with a double. So the rookie continues to play like anything but. And a 1-out 2-bagger, and the tying run is at second base here in the 6th inning.
Key shakes his head. The curve has been a good pitch for him, but Knobloch gets it about thigh high. Up till this point, Key had been throwing that ball in about knee high, changing speeds. Obviously threw that one a little too hard, and it hung up in the hitter's zone. Knobloch took advantage of it.
All 3 Minnesota hits have been for extra bases. One of them by Kirby Puckett, who doubled into the right center field gap in the 4th inning with 2 outs. And he lashes a line drive to right field, fielded by Carter. They're going to wave Knobloch in. The throw is cut off. The play at the plate and safe at home. Olerud had cut it off and then threw to Borders, but Knobloch slid in safely anyway. And the game is tied at 2-2 as Kirby Puckett has driven in his 2nd run of the series.
Like his last at bat, and here's Carter playing in that shallow position. This throw, if it's on line, is in plenty of time to get Knobloch. You see Mack or Chili Davis in the background trying to tell Knobloch to get down and slide. Borders a little too far in front of the plate. If he's back in the line where without the one-hand sweep tag, he can hold on to the ball and block Knobloch off the plate, they've got a chance to get him out. Olerud made the quick return throw, and Knobloch slid around him. Ideally, a catcher would like to be a little closer to the plate in a position to hold that ball and block the runner off the plate. Carter's throw just a little off line, and then Olerud's throw was in time, as you can see from that overhead shot, about 6 feet to the fair side of home plate. That's what enabled the run to score.
Puckett 2 for 3. Breaking out of his doldrums of the first 2 games. On at first base, Galen Cisco went to the mound and talked to Jimmy Key. Well, the score is tied 2-2, and now the Twins have out-hit the Jays 4-3. And Chili Davis, the batter, looking for his first hit tonight, is 0 for 2. We'll have bullpen activity in the Blue Jays pen. Davis, the switch hitter, runner at first and 1 out. That's low ball 1. Great flying slide by Knobloch, and he was able to get that left hand on the plate. With 1 out, the Twins could be playing hit and run to stay out of the double play. With Puckett on at first base. He's got a good move, however. And a ground ball up the middle past Lee into center field. Stopping at second is Puckett. 3 straight hits by the Twins after 1 retired here in the 6th inning. And the go-ahead run is in scoring position.
Another sign of the hitters making a little adjustment, not trying to pull the ball. Look at the bounce on that ball. That's a subtle difference between the 2 domes. The SkyDome turf has a little more bounce to it, and that's what kept Manuel Lee from knocking that ball down, maybe even turning it into a double play.
There's Cito Gaston. He's got that big monitor, and he sees that Mike Timlin and David Wells warming up in the bullpen. They both pitched well in a losing cause in game number 1 Tuesday night. Wells, the left-hander. Here is Shane Mack, tripled and scored the first Twins run last inning. 1 for 2. Fastball, strike 1. So Jimmy Key now trying to pitch out of danger here. With runners at first and second and 1 out. Go-ahead run at second. In Puckett. Chili Davis is the runner at first. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball, low and away. Mack chased it, and he's in an 0-2 hole. One thing the Blue Jays do have is an outstanding and deep bullpen, which we've already seen in this series. Reach out and a line drive to Alomar, and Chili Davis will be doubled off at first base to end the inning. But the Twins get a run to tie it up at 2-2, and we'll be back after this message and a report from CBS News.
In America, your car is not just something you own. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete...
Friendly questioning from Republican Orrin Hatch with conciliatory, at times even helpful statements from Democrat Joe Biden. Before the hearings recessed tonight, Thomas repeated that he is the true victim.
Our institutions are being controlled by people who will stop at nothing. They went around this country looking for dirt, not information on Clarence Thomas, dirt. Anybody with any dirt, anything, late night calls, calls at work, calls at home, badgering, anything, give us some dirt.
Anita Hill says he definitely sexually harassed her. CBS News will be here when the committee hearings resume at 10 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. For now, Dan Rather, CBS News, New York, and back to the ballpark.
Pinch hitter for the Toronto Blue Jays to lead off the 6th inning against the left-hander David West. Pat Tabler, who's 9 for 21 with 6 runs batted in as a pinch hitter this year, was a DH for nearly 60 games for Toronto this year. The count is 2 balls and no strikes, and now West falls behind 3-0.
Wow, boy, you talk about a game that'll weigh on some managers' shoulders, pacing that dugout. Both teams get men on the atom ball, and it hasn't favored either team. Toronto's hit some balls well right at the Twins. That inning, Shane Mack hits the ball well, double play. Hard to believe it's just a 2-2 game.
Dabler pinch hitting for Mullenix will be the DH, and a call strike. 3 balls and 1 strike.
That's a pretty lofty number, and when the bases are loaded, it goes even higher. This guy's been phenomenal with the sacks jammed.
Right in there, taking all the way, and the count is full to Tabler, 3-2. Pat Borders on deck for the Blue Jays. We're tied 2-2 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Blue Jays got all of their runs and hits in the 1st inning tonight against Scott Erickson. But Tabler walks to start the 6th inning. For West, it's been feast or famine. He walked a batter and threw 2 wild pitches in the 5th inning, but came through big time when he struck out Gruber and Maldonado with runners at 2nd and 3rd. And Mookie Wilson is going to come in to pinch run for Tabler. Crowd chanting Mookie. He has more experience in postseason than any of the Blue Jays. He's running for Tabler.
Probably had a chance to look at David West's pickoff move in their days together with the New York Mets. West was a Met farmhand when Mookie was there.
Here's Borders, last time up Borders, with Scott Leyes playing back. Laid down a perfect sacrifice bunt. Leyes is about even with the bag, has to be wary of that possibility. And a snap throw to first base, safe. And Tim Welke gave it a long look to make sure that Mookie got back.
A stronger arm behind there tonight with Junior Ortiz. Again, you'll see David West use what pitchers call the slide step. He will not pick his leg up very high, just slides it toward home. But when you do that as a pitcher, you sacrifice some speed and oftentimes some control.
Dick Such, Twins pitching coach, back out to the mound. He's had to make a lot of visits out there tonight.
But the other thing is a hitter, and hitters are wise to this by now. It is so difficult to throw a breaking ball with that slide step that just about every time a pitcher does it, it's a fastball. So if you recognize it quickly, watch the front leg. See, that's the slide step. Now, if you can recognize that as a hitter, you're saying here comes a fastball. It's very difficult to throw a breaking ball from that delivery, and that's an advantage to Pat Borders, who was not showing bunt on that first pitch.
Borders 1 for 13 career-wise against West. There's Mookie Wilson, who was 11 for 14 in stolen base attempts this year, and Borders takes a home run swing and misses. 1 ball and 1 strike. Blue Jays have had several opportunities to break open this game. They scored their 2 runs in the 1st inning, but left runners in scoring position in the 4th and 5th inning. 2-1 the count to Borders. Twins have bullpen activity. Carl Willis, who was a hero in long relief for Jack Morris in Game 1, is working. It's chopped to 3rd. The throw to 2nd for 1. The relay to 1st. Double play. Well, Borders hits into a double play. Wilson is erased, and there are 2 down and nobody on base here in the 6th inning as the Jays attempt fizzles.
Slide step pays off. Wilson can't get a jump, and the ball gets in on Borders' hands. The high bounce to Leyes. The rest pretty ordinary. Just make accurate throws, and Minnesota has a double play. Scott Leyes made an adjustment as Knobloch, the second baseman, did. Both shortstops in the minor leagues. Leyes has made the adjustment to 3rd, Knobloch to 2nd.
So that's the first double play by the Minnesota Twins. The Blue Jays have turned 2 tonight. And Manuel Lee takes a fastball, strike 1. David West in relief of Scott Erickson, the Twins' 20-game winner, who started and faced 1 batter in the 5th inning. 2 strikes, and Tom Kelly, in an unusual move, brought in the lefty West to face Carter, the right-handed hitter.
Primarily because of these pitches. A lot of the Blue Jays hitters are better off-speed or breaking ball hitters. He's going with mostly heat.
Big swing and a fly ball to center field, and Kirby Puckett will camp under this, and that'll retire the Blue Jays in the 6th inning. 2-2 the score as the Twins come up in inning number 7.
3 of the 1991 American League Championship Series is brought to you by Lexus Luxury Automobiles, the result of a relentless pursuit of perfection. The Prudential, come to the companies of the Prudential and build your future on the rock. And by Bud Light, everything else is just a light.
Well, tomorrow we have double barrel action for you in the National League Championship Series. The scene shifts to Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium for Game 3, starting at 2:30 Eastern Time, and a championship edition of Baseball 91 with Pat O'Brien will precede it. He'll have Tommy Lasorda, the Dodgers skipper, with him. And then tomorrow night we'll be back with game number 4 at 8 o'clock Eastern, the Twins and the Blue Jays. And our congratulations to Jim Leland, Pirates manager, and his wife Katie. She gave birth to Patrick James this afternoon, 7 pounds 2 ounces, and Jim will be in uniform tomorrow against Atlanta. You knew he would.
Wouldn't surprise me if all 3 of them were.
David Wells, we've talked about the great bullpen depth of the Blue Jays, and this is one of the people. David Wells in relief of Jimmy Key. First pitch to Kent Herbeck is inside, ball 1. Wells worked 3 innings in the first game of this series, allowed 2 hits. Comes at you hard, and Herbeck takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1.
No surprises again in this series. A close game, and it's in the hands of the bullpen. Difference between Wells and Key, you just referred to it. Wells is a hard thrower. You see a lot of fastballs and a sharp curve.
Fastball fouled off to the left. Herbeck has an RBI as a result of a fielder's choice in the 5th inning. Shane Mack beat the throw by Roberto Alomar home, as Alomar made the decision to go home. Not the best decision to make. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And he goes around for the strikeout, and there's 1 away in the 7th.
Ahead with the fastball, and then watch the break on that pitch. Left-handers can't keep that front shoulder. Watch Herbeck's front shoulder, because that ball looks like it's going to be about 6 inches inside right there, and then bingo. Outside corner.
Greg Gagne, the batter, 0 for 1, is walked. Strike 1 to Gagne. Herbeck, with only 1 hit thus far in the series, has driven in 1 run. But the bottom line is that the Twins and the Jays are even 2-2 here in the 7th inning after Toronto led 2-0 in the 1st. There's a curveball for a strike, 0-2. Toronto's bullpen has been impeccable. 4 hits, 11 strikeouts, and no earned runs in 9 innings of work. Strikes out on a fastball, up in the zone. 2 strikeouts here in the 7th for Wells.
Well, if you're Greg Gagne, you've been looking at the soft curve and the sinker, and then here comes some high gas from David Wells. Can't catch up with it. Can't make the adjustment in that first at bat. Very difficult. Watch the ball past Gagne's bat before it gets into the hitting area.
Junior Ortiz with 2 out. Hits a chopper in front of the mound. Wells is there in a 1-2-3 inning in his first inning of relief in the middle of the 7th inning. The Drummers pound away in a 2-2 game in the SkyDome.
First, we created the LS400 luxury sedan. Now we've taken everything we learned and condensed it. Introducing the new ES300. All the performance of a sports sedan, all the luxury of a Lexus.
What's
the best part of your job?
Kids. Kids are what McDonald's is all about.
Love kids. I'm having 12.
We have special toys for the kids.
I give them the little hand puppets.
All the little kids call me, and they say, here comes Al.
Keeping kids happy.
That's McDonald's today.
When it comes to brake repairs, some places give you a guesstimate. Midas gives you an estimate, in writing. A thorough inspection, then a price that's right. At Midas, we do brake work, not guesswork. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
When I first saw Sarah on the library steps, I swear it skipped a beat. When Don Larson was one pitch away from a perfect game in the World Series, it stood perfectly still. On that awful day in '63, it felt like it was in the pit of my stomach. And that incredible moment when we all took one giant leap for mankind, it nearly burst with pride. But last year, when the doctors told me my heart was failing, and without a transplant I wouldn't last 6 months, that's when it stuck in my throat.
A year ago, the Prudential created the Living Needs benefit. Now, the terminally ill could collect their death benefit while they were alive, and they could use it for anything their heart desired.
Now that I'm alive and well, I think of the donor. I think of his family, and naturally, my heart goes out to them.
For information, call 1-800-654-ROCK.
Tell me, oh wisest Swami, what's the answer?
Well, the Eagles have a most difficult defense, but the Saints are unbelievably undefeated. I wish I had a television.
7th inning stretch time at the SkyDome in Toronto. All even in Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. Here's how it got even. Kirby Puckett's base hit, and Knobloch slides in ahead of the throw from the cutoff man, John Olerud, to tie the score in the 6th inning. And the Blue Jays will have the top of their order up in the 7th against David West. Devon White looking for his first hit. 1 for 12 in his career against the left-hander. Ball 1. Fastball for a strike.
Watching Knobloch score that tying run again points up so many of the little subtle things. Third base coach's decisions and Borders in that play a little too far up the line. He's back on the plate. Knobloch is out.
2 balls in a strike. Devon White trying to be the catalyst here in the 7th inning, as he was in Game 2 when he had 2 hits, a walk, and scored 3 runs. Check swing, and they appeal to Tim Welke. He held up, and it's 3-1.
A lot of discipline by the Blue Jays hitters, and that's an improvement Devon White has made. Much more of a free swinger when he was in California. More discipline now.
And a bounding ball through the hole into left field for a base hit. That is the first base hit for the Jays since the 1st inning.
Takes a fastball down in the strike zone. Hit too sharply for Gagne to get to it. And with those loping strides to first base, you sense immediately what the Blue Jays have in mind here. Mike Squires giving Devon White the instructions.
There's Roberto Alomar. So for the 4th straight inning, the Blue Jays have the leadoff man on. They've left him stranded the previous 3. Alomar 0 for 2 with a walk. Squares around and takes ball 1. See what kind of a rotation play that the Twins have in their infield here against the possible sacrifice attempt.
Alomar, such an experienced hitter, can turn around and take a couple of pitches to give White an opportunity to steal second. White will try to sneak out to where he gets at least 1 foot on that turf. One advantage of the sliding pits for pitchers, they can judge what kind of a lead runners get. Now, White not the big lead yet. If If he reads that move and feels comfortable with it, he'll get 1 foot out on the turf. Just a little bit of an advantage. But White's not an accomplished base stealer yet. He does it with raw speed.
Had 33 stolen bases during the regular year, and there's the bunt, a good one down the first base line. Herbeck has only 1 play, so Alomar sacrifices, and White is in scoring position with 1 out.
He can hit, he can steal bases, and in game 2, it was a sacrifice bunt by Alomar that helped produce a Toronto run. This one gets the lead run in scoring position. Herbeck's only play to first base.
And Joe Carter, who homered in the first inning, has struck out twice since. Injured his ankle, going after a triple by Shane Mack in the 5th. And the shift is on. They're going to walk him. Olerud will be the next hitter. Not taking any chances with the left-hander facing the right-handed slugger.
Pat Tabler has already gone to the plate, so manager Cito Gaston a little strapped for right-hand hitters on the bench if he did want to make a change. He has Rene Gonzalez and Ed Sprague.
So Carter is aboard, and with 1 out, of course, that sets up the force. Juan Guzman, who was the winning pitcher in game 2. Carl Willis and Mark Guthrie have been warming up for the Twins. And we're going to have a pinch hitter now for Joe Carter. Pinch runner for Carter. Rob Ducey. And a hand for Joe Carter.
That's a surprising thing about that sacrifice bunt. Usually Alomar will square around and allow White to steal second base, because what they did by bunting White to second base is took the bat out of Carter's hands.
So here's Olerud, who has walked 3 times tonight. Hits a fly ball to center field. Puckett is there. He makes the catch. Bluffing the tag up is Alomar. He stays at third. And there are 2 gone here in the 7th inning. So Olerud is retired for the first time tonight.
Kelly Gruber's been such an outstanding hitter with men in scoring position. By the time that ball was caught in center field, he was already in the batter's box. He knows what's at stake. Would like to get an at-bat against left-hand pitcher David West, but Tom Kelly senses that in a hurry, and he'll inevitably make a change right here. Mark Guthrie, the left-hander, and Carl Willis, who has been up before, would be the logical choice right here.
Willis retired. Came in the first game in 2 1/3 innings, struck out 2 batters, and was the hero in long relief for the Twins as West leaves the game. But he did a terrific job back in the 5th inning. He struck out Gruber and Maldonado with runners in scoring position. Carl Willis coming on in. 7th inning and 2 outs. And Carl Willis is the new pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. He retired all 7 batters that he faced in game 1 in relief of Jack Morris.
Again, Kelly Gruber so inside conscious as a hitter early in the count. And Willis has faced this team before and is aware of that. That's the pitch Gruber sits on.
Gruber struck out against Willis in Tuesday night's opening game. He's 1 for 3 with an infield hit. Runners at first and second and 2 down. Ground ball hit to the shortstop. Backing up Gagne goes to second for the force, and Willis again does his job. We have completed 7 innings in a tense game here at the SkyDome. The Twins and Blue Jays are all even. Produced tonight, Joe Carter with a home run. Kirby Puckett with an RBI single. Jimmy Key tied a league championship record, retiring the first 11 batters, but both starters have been long gone. And one of the big plays of the game, Joe Carter, who injured an ankle chasing this 3-base hit in the 6th inning. Scott Leyes facing David Wells, lifts a foul that goes out of play. Oh, is it caught? He caught it. Olerud makes a fine catch in the first row.
And a little cooperation from his own fans. You'll see Olerud very close to reaching. In fact, he reaches right in. Actually, if a fan reaches for that ball and makes contact with it in the stands, the umpire would not call fan interference. You see Tim Welke right on the call there to find out whether Olerud reached into the stands or whether a fan would reach into the field of play.
And Gladden takes ball 1. Do you notice in many parks, a lot of those fans in the first 2 rows would be battling the fielder for the ball, but they kept their arms down. They knew what was the best for the Blue Jays. We assume they were Blue Jay fans. Gladden is 0 for 3 and hits a line drive to left field. Maldonado is going back on the track, and he makes the grab. Sharply hit by Dan Gladden for out number 2.
It's had a little of everything this game. Sacrifice bunts, foiled sacrifice bunts, well-hit balls that are caught, and there's another example of it. Maldonado in perfect position, right near the American League emblem in deep left field to make the catch.
Rob Ducey, who came in to run for Carter, is the new right fielder for the Blue Jays. Chuck Knobloch doubled to left field his last time up and scored on Puckett's single. 2-2 the score. Blue Jays scored 2 in the first. And the Twins tied it with runs in the 5th and 6th innings. Puckett is waiting on deck. He had 2 hits tonight. Knobloch. Fastball in there. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Even though Chuck Knobloch is not necessarily a pull hitter right now, Cito Gaston does not want to give up the extra base hit with 2 outs. So he has Kelly Gruber stationed fairly close to the line. He'll give up the single, not the double.
Line drive, and it's going to be a base hit to left field. Maldonado retrieves, and Knobloch is aboard. He's had 6 hits in 10 trips thus far in this season, in this series as a rookie, and with 2 down, there's a runner at first base, and Kirby Puckett coming up.
Now, the more players get comfortable at the big league level, rookie comes up to the big leagues, hits the ball the opposite way, hands are a little tight on the bat speed is not quite there. Galen Cisco, the pitching coach, coming out, but now the second half of the year, Knobloch is an example of that. A little more relaxed, and he's starting to pull the ball a little more.
Tom Hanky is going to get the call for the Blue Jays here to face the right-handed hitting Puckett, and we'll be back. Tom Hanky, some question as to what his condition would be after having tendonitis in his shoulder and being sidelined for a good part of the final months of the season, replacing Wells now and facing Kirby Puckett, who's 2 for 3 with a single and a double and an RBI.
See a quick word from Roberto Alomar. One of the things the Blue Jays be concerned with right here is Chuck Knobloch's ability to steal second base.
Two outs.
That's the signal for the move to first. Normally, that little pinky finger. Becoming universal with most teams. These signs being relayed from the bench.
Two the score. The go-ahead run is at first base. Throw over to first. Knobloch did not have much of a lead. Puckett, by the way, has had good success against Hanky in his career, 6 for 18, including 4 doubles. Wayne Ward is up throwing now in the Blue Jays bullpen. Puckett fouls back the fastball, strike one.
A lot of managers try to do is Gardenhire flashes the signs with Tom Hanky as guess, and especially when he's ahead in the count of Kirby Puckett, guess breaking ball or fork ball, which is a little tougher pitch for Borders to handle. That's when they send the runner.
Fouls it off, and Hanky is ahead of Puckett, 2 strikes. Twins have made the most of their opportunities tonight. They have left just 3 men on base.
And here's that situation. If you're Tom Kelly, you got to say, here comes a breaking ball. If you're Cito Gaston, you say, I can gamble a pitch. I might pitch out right here.
And there goes the runner, and the pitch is hit to the right side, and Hanky will handle it, and the side is retired. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Still tied, 2-2. For the 8th inning, 2-2 the score. Candy Maldonado leading off against Carl Willis. Ball 1 outside. In game 1, Willis, I think, was accused of spitting into his glove. Cito Gaston came out to complain to home plate umpire Larry Barnett. Chopper to third. Leyes takes the play, and Maldonado's retired.
Anytime a hitter sees that sinking action on the ball without a lot of spin on it, which is the same action the split finger fastball has, immediately they think a pitcher might be doctoring it up. See the down action on that ball. Maldonado hits right on the top of it. Easy ground out to Leyes.
There's Mookie Wilson, the designated hitter. He came in to run for Pat Tabler. Not many left. This is his first appearance at the plate in this series. 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. Ball 1.
Kirby Puckett out there waving his hands, trying to get an indication of where to play Wilson. Looks like he sits straight up. He made that straight sign, straight ahead.
Fastball, and the count is even.
For a moment, like he was in Atlanta with the tomahawk sign. But I think he just said, let's play him straight away.
Wilson, with considerable postseason experience with the New York Mets, gets out of the way of that pitch inside, but Jim McKean said he went around on it, so it's strike 2.
Hasn't had to call this play all night, but he was right on it. Jim McKean. Wilson with the quick swing and the barrel of that bat. Watch it go past home plate. That's what an umpire looks for. And it did.
Fouled off to the left. Mookie Wilson stays alive, 1-2. His 4th appearance in postseason, twice with the Mets. In '86, the World Series, and again in '88. '89 with the Blue Jays. One-two pitch is slapped to the left side. Leyes backs up, but gets it over to Herbeck in time for the 2nd out. Right now, let's check in with Leslie Visser. Leslie?
Skip, Joe Carter has gone into the clubhouse. The trainer, Tommy Craig, says he's in a tremendous amount of pain. Right now, they are waiting for the orthopedic specialist to the team, Dr. Alan Gross, to determine whether they should take x-rays. We'll keep you updated.
Well, that's serious news for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, that's a tough blow for all of baseball fans, because if that's that serious, he's going to be out for the rest of the series, and he's a fun player to watch.
Pat Borders with 2 outs, hits a line drive to left, but Dan Gladden is there to make the catch, and a 1-2-3 inning. So Willis has retired all 11 he has faced in this series. We're tied going into the 9th. Tomahawks chopping away at 2:30 Eastern Time. Pirates won the opening game behind Drabeck, who got injured. Question about him, but Avery was brilliant for Atlanta in Game 2 and Game 3 tomorrow afternoon. Right here, we're tied 2-2 going into the top of the 9th inning. Davis, Mack, and Herbeck against Tom Hanky. Hanky has been used as the setup man twice now in this series, with Wayne Ward coming in to pick up a save in game number 2. 1-0 the count to Davis, who's 1 for 3 with a single. There's a fastball, 1-1.
Minnesota has had a couple of looks at Hanky because he pitched against them the last weekend of the regular season to try to test that arm. And one of the things they've tried to make him do is throw more strikes, be a little more patient.
2 balls and 1 strike.
You could understand when a pitcher has been inactive as Hanky has been, and you're accustomed to just pitching an inning at a time, bound to lose a little of that sharpness.
Got a good fastball to hit, fouls it off. 2-2. The relief pitching on both sides has been brilliant thus far in the combined 21 innings. Only 1 run given up by the bullpens of the Twins and the Blue Jays. Foul back, and the count holds 2-2. On deck is Shane Mack, who scored one of the 2 Minnesota runs this evening. Twins getting more production from the middle part of their batting order with a lineup change. But Davis swings and misses on a forkball, and he's retired. Out number 1 in the top of the 9th.
Well, many feel the fastball is not quite there as much, but that one is. Look at the spin on that forkball. Bottom falls out of it, too close for Davis to take. Pitcher's pitch. It'll break back away and down, as the split finger forkball usually does.
Shane Mack with 1 out. Fielded by Ron Gardenhire. Mack has a triple, and he lined into a double play in the 6th inning to end the Minnesota threat after the Twins had tied the score.
These managers are exhausted the way they're sitting on those benches. All the things that have happened tonight, or could have happened.
A ball and a strike to Mack with Herbeck on deck.
Nursing the bat back.
No bad back. Just hoping that he can take a 2-1 lead in this series. Swinging a bad pitch by Mack, and it's 1-2.
Blue Jays pitchers are feeding off Shane Mack's anxiety. First championship series, an aggressive swinger. Saw Jimmy Key do it. And now Hanky with the forkball. Off-speed pitch, getting Mack well out in front.
Gruber is deep and guarding the line at third against Mack with the 1-2 pitch. He did not go around. Tim Welke, first base umpire, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, let's see. Normally the strong guys have the strength to hold up. That's borderline. Right there, Mack holds it up. It did not cross the front part of the plate.
So Mack swings at 2 bad pitches and becomes the 2nd strikeout victim for Tom Hanky here in the 9th inning. Game 3 of the American League Championship Series. The Blue Jays scored 2 in the 1st. Carter with a home run. Maldonado with a double. Then a fielder's choice after Mack had tripled. And Kirby Puckett with a single tied it up 2-2. And the injury to Joe Carter on this play. And his future services are in doubt as Herbeck takes strike 1 from Hanky with 2 out in the top of the 9th inning. Herbeck is 1 for 11 in this series. Missed with the fastball.
If it's in there, Hanky is enough of a veteran. If it's in on the inside part, it's going to be off the plate. They do not want to give Ken Herbeck anything to pull in this situation.
Olerud at first, like Gruber at third, guarding the line. 2 balls and a strike. Looking ahead to the Blue Jays half of the 9th inning. The number 9 hitter, Manuel Lee, will lead off, and then White and Alomar. Time called, and Borders goes to the mound.
I think this is what that conversation might be about. Alomar is deep, Olerud's on the line, but those last 2 pitches were either in the middle or on the inside part, and that is there are more games lost by bad breaking balls on the inside part of the plate late in the game. You can get by with a fastball, especially a fastball away. But the most dangerous pitch right now is middle of the plate in.
I know one guy who's watching is Steve Palermo, the brave and courageous American League umpire who was shot in the back in Dallas, attempting to foil a robbery attempt. All of our good wishes, including his crewmate Rich Garcia. Send them all the best. He's been in rehabilitation.
All the players and some of the visits to Texas near the end of the season have even had an opportunity to call Steve, visit him, wish him well.
3-1 to Herbeck. 2 outs and the base is empty. Al back. Herbeck won't get a better pitch than that.
See Borders just before that pitch with his glove even motioned to Hanky, keep it outside.
Count is full, 3-2. Hanky and Herbeck. Deep and guarding the line. He was guarding the line as well against the right-handed hitting Mack. And he loses him. Herbeck walks with 2 out, and right now let's go to Leslie Visser.
Dick, down here with the Blue Jays trainer Tommy Craig. Tommy, what is Joe Carter's condition?
Right now it looks pretty good. Dr. Alan Gross, our orthopedist, had a look at him. He doesn't think he needs an x-ray tonight. I'm going to see how he is at the hotel and check with him in the morning, and at that time we'll decide if he needs an x-ray on a mild ankle sprain at the tib-fib joint. So right now I'd say his possibilities for playing tomorrow look pretty good.
Pretty good. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dick.
Let's see, that's great news for the Blue Jays and as Jim mentioned, for all baseball fans. We're going to see a pinch hitter here, Paul Sorrento, who has the ability to hit 1 out. He'll be batting for Greg Gagne with 2 down and Herbeck on at first base in the 9th inning.
And there was one reason the Twins added Paul Sorrento to their postseason roster. There was talk that their fine young outfielder Pedro Munoz, who is a right-handed hitter, might be there. One reason, Paul Sorrento is the best fastball hitter from the left side of the plate on the Twins team. And that's what Tom Kelly is hoping he gets a chance to swing at right here.
In 26 games, 47 times to the plate, had 4 homers and 13 runs batted in. Native of Somerville, Massachusetts, facing Tom Henke with 2 outs and Herbeck aboard here in the top of the 9th inning of a tie game. Henke keeping the pitch away from Sorrento, ball 1. So we'll have a new shortstop for the Twins in the bottom of the 9th inning. Al Newman, the likely replacement. Big cut by Sorrento, 1-1.
And that swing tells you he's a fastball hitter. The front shoulder will fly out, and that's why he's very vulnerable to the off-speed pitch. That's what he got.
Sorrento has 5 career pinch hits, 4 of them for extra bases, including 3 home runs. The 1-1. Way out ahead of that one, and the count is 1-2.
Again, Hanky and the Blue Jays know these two teams have faced each other so often. You can see the fork ball grip and the break of it. Good block by Borders.
Hanky strikes out the side, and the Blue Jays come up in the bottom of the 9th inning with a chance to win it. Craig Gagne. The American League Championship Series resumes tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time with Game 4 Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And if necessary, back to Minneapolis in the Metrodome.
Again, you look at the pitching matchups, it's pretty understandable why no one thought that there would be any sweep involved. You look at the game tomorrow, Morris and Stottlemyre.
Pitching the story of the series, particularly the bullpens. Tom Kelly telling his infielders to look for the bunt from Manuel Lee. 0 for 3 leading off here in the bottom of the 9th. Reyes is playing in at third. Offered a bunt and takes up high, ball 1. Inside, 2 balls and no strikes.
You got to throw it wide to walk Manny Lee. Very aggressive hitter, but I would anticipate a take right here. He's going to make Carl Willis throw a strike.
There's a strike, 2 and 1. Two balls and 1 strike. They walk Lee with 1 out in the 7th. In game 2, and he takes a call, strike 2, 2 and 2. So here's Carl Willis with a 3-2 pitch upcoming to Manuel Lee. Got the top of the order up.
No pressure like this kind of pressure in the championship series.
Fastball, and he's out of there. Willis strikes out Lee, and there's 1 gone in the bottom of the 9th.
Manny Lee shakes his head, but no question about this. The tendency in these situations, grip it tight, throw it in the dirt. Watch the movement right back across the inside part of the plate. And clearly, as Lee moves up in the box, almost looking for a walk, that ball clearly caught a good third of the plate.
1 out in the top of the order, Devon White. Singled his last time up, 1 for 4 on the evening. If anyone gets on here in the 9th inning for the Blue Jays, Rob Ducey, who's in Carter's place, would come to bat. And a fastball hit in the air to left center field. Dan Gladden to track it down, and there are 2 gone in the 9th. Terrific piece of relief pitching for Carl Willis, who has now retired all 13 men he has faced in 2 appearances in the series. Here's Roberto Alomar.
You don't think of him as a home run hitter, but one thing he has been able to do in late game situations is pick out a pitch on the inside part and turn on it.
Fastball inside to Alomar, who's 0 for 2 with a walk and a sacrifice. Herbeck is off the line at first base. Two and 0. It's been 5 years since an American League Championship Series game has gone into extra innings. And a memorable one at that, the Red Sox and the Angels in '86. Fastball for a strike.
I think there was a guy named Dave Henderson involved in that game, wasn't there? Richie Garcia was behind the plate in that one.
Rocky Rowe.
Oh, Rocky Rowe was, same guy.
Garcia was at first base. Slapped out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Alomar. High tech here in Toronto. There's the bullpen.
Petrosian and Guthrie.
And a liner over the head of Knobloch in the right field, and Alomar keeps it going for the Blue Jays with a 2-out single here in the 9th inning. And that's the first hit and first base runner against Carl Willis.
Wasn't a long ball, but you see Ortiz's inside target. You got to be awfully quick with the fastball to get it by Roberto Alomar on the inside part. And that's going to bring Tom Kelly out. Rob Ducey, a left-hand hitter. Guthrie, the left-hander, has been throwing in the bullpen.
Willis has done the job. He couldn't get Alomar for the 3rd out, but he has been a bellwether in relief for the Minnesota Twins. And Mark Guthrie comes in from the bullpen and will return to the SkyDome after this message and a word from your local station. In the series is the 4th Minnesota pitcher. Ducey with his first plate appearance of the series. He hit a home run in the 10th inning in the final game of the regular season at the Metrodome to beat the Twins. This is a lot more meaningful. 2 out, Alomar, the runner at first base.
May see more throws to first than to home in this sequence.
Ball 1 to Ducey, who hit .235. Spent time between the AAA farm, Syracuse, and the Blue Jays this year. Off the plate again, 2-0.
Boy, Minnesota gambled first 2 pitches. Alomar not going, but they missed the strike zone.
Diving back is Alomar, close at first.
See, this is what Alomar looks at. Mark Guthrie's leg straight up, and that's why he has such a good pickoff move. The leg comes straight up where the runner really doesn't know whether he's going to home or first. Alomar will try to get a little extra lean towards second.
If Ducey keeps it alive, Olerud would be next. A fastball for a strike, 2-1.
And that's what the leg looks like. when Guthrie delivers to home. Very little difference.
Soft toss that time. Outfield is playing Ducey around to the left, so he has a gap in right center field. Two balls and one strike, Alomar. And a short lead that time.
Minnesota not expecting Ducey to be able to pull Guthrie. Mentioned the outfield, the left center, and also the infield shifted that way a little bit. Any ball down the right field line, Alomar's going to score easily.
We're in the bottom of the ninth inning of a tie game. Series one apiece.
So he's got, when you recall Devon White's lead, White with his great speed barely got the front foot on the turf. Little signal there from first base coach Mike Squires. Alomar is about 3 feet onto the turf.
Goes to the plate for a fastball. Alomar was actually headed back to first on that pitch to the plate.
That's one of the reasons Mark Guthrie brought in this situation. Not just to pitch to the left-hand hitter, but to keep Alomar from getting into scoring position.
Well, a chance for the Toronto native, Rob Ducey, to help his team here with 2 out. 2-2 the count, and Alomar the base runner. Ball gloved nicely by Herbeck and steps on the bag for the 3rd out, and we go to extra innings here at the SkyDome, all tied 2-2 in game 3. Tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern time, all starts with baseball 91, the Pirates against the Braves. Smiley, who won 20 games in Smoltz, the only right-hander in that rotation of strong lefties, goes for the Braves. And of course, we'll be with you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern time for game 4. New pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. That'll be the starters tomorrow. Morris for the 2nd time and Stottlemyre in his first appearance. But Mike Timlin is on for the Toronto Blue Jays, the 4th pitcher for the Jays. And we're going to have a pinch hitter. Gene Larkin is going to bat for Ortiz as we go to the 10th inning. Timlin worked 2 1/3 innings in game 1, allowed 1 hit and struck out 2 batters.
That's a situation Tom Kelly hoped to avoid. Only has 2 catchers, so with Ortiz coming out of the game, Harper will go in. Not as good a thrower as Ortiz, and of course, if there's any injury, the only player really that he has to back up in an emergency, their emergency catcher, as every team has, is Chili Davis. Timlin with a live fastball. Early in the year was a legitimate candidate for Rookie of the Year. He spent some time on the disabled list with a tender arm. Not throwing quite as hard as he did early on.
But nonetheless, a good outing in game 1, and Gene Larkin, switch hitter, who was out in a pinch hitting role in the opening game of this series, batting for Ortiz. So we'll see Harper behind the plate in the bottom of the 10th inning. Larkin, Leas in the top of the order. Dan Gladden against Timlin. That pitch is low, ball 1. The Twins were 9-7 in extra inning games, and the Blue Jays 8-10. Ball and 1 strike to Larkin, who hit .286 this year.
See Larkin wear that shin pad, as a lot of left-hand hitters do. He's right on top of the plate, gets hit with a lot of pitches, and a lot of the balls down and in will go off that area. It's on top of that slider.
Larkin, the second pinch hitter for the Twins in this game. Sorrento struck out to retire the side in the 9th inning. Try to go with the pitch and fouled it off. Count remains 1-2. Been a long time since we've seen the starters, Jimmy Key and Scott Erickson.
See Kelly Gruber as well as Olerud at first, not wanting to give up the extra base hit.
Outfield straight away for Larkin. Off the plate, 2-2. That's how close to the line that Olerud is playing. Ground ball slowly hit to Alomar. And Larkin is retired. One away in the top of the 10th inning. Tom Kelly on that list as the manager's heads roll almost daily this week.
Yeah, what that tells you, with almost half of the managers being changed, is in the last several years, management, general managers evidently have not made wise decisions. If you have to change managers that often, maybe you didn't pick the right guy in the first place. I've never seen this many changes, but he's pretty secure. Tom Kelly just signed a new deal, and the rest of those guys.
We're going to have a pinch hitter for Scott Leyes, Mike Pagliarulo, who started the first 2 games of the series at third base for the Twins, will be batting for Leyes. He's 0 for 6 in the series.
See, and here's where the guard the line theory. You could go against who the pitcher is and the hitters. Pagliarulo is not really much of a pull hitter anymore, but he can sure ground the ball through that hole.
Way outside, 1-0 the count. We'll have a new bottom third of the Minnesota Twins lineup. Newman, of course, replaced Gagne. We'll have Harper behind the plate, and Pags will go into play third. Line drive deep to right field. Going back is Ducey. It's gone. A home run for Mike Pagliarulo, and the Twins lead it 3-2. He hit 6 during the regular season, and Mike Timlin has given up a home run to pinch hitter Mike Pagliarulo, and the Minnesota fans exult.
Like I said, not much of a pull hitter anymore, but when you get a pitch in this zone, again, the inside part of the plate, look at the barrel of the bat hit the ball and the extension. A veteran hitter like Pagliarulo, one thing in mind, you get a ball on the inside part. One happy fan in this ballpark tonight. His father came down from Massachusetts, both great Boston Bruins fans.
Pags once hit 32 homers. That's when he was a power hitter for the Yankees back in '87. But he's delivered the big blow in the first Minnesota home run in this series, has given the Twins a 3-2 lead in the 10th inning. Here's Dan Gladden, who's 0 for 4, and he takes strike 1. Rick Aguilera, who picked up a save in the Game 1 victory for Minnesota, getting ready to come in and save another one, hopefully, for him.
May see Gladden take a couple of pitches. Aguilera hasn't had much time to get ready. That's why Ron Gardenhire called him down the line.
Ball and a strike to count to Gladden. 1 out, Knobloch with an extra bit of instruction from manager Tom Kelly on deck. Two balls and a strike to Gladden. Joe Carter said home field's not going to mean much in this series. It's who makes the fewest mistakes. Team split in Minneapolis. Twins lead here, and a good bunt in front of the plate. Hustling is Timlin, and his throw hits the runner, and safe at first base is Gladden.
No argument from the Blue Jays. One of the things that an umpire always looks for and players do is, was the runner inside the running lane? Gladden fools Timlin. It looked like he was going to bunt toward third, but he bunted toward first. And right there, he's got the foot just inside the line. Usually a drag bunter. This is a push bunt. Timlin calls Borders off. And Gladden running just on that fine line, but just inside the retaining line down there.
Shades of J.C. Martin and the dispute with Earl Weaver in the '69 World Series between the Orioles and the Mets. But Minnesota has a runner at first base in Gladden with 1 out, and Chuck Knobloch, who has 6 hits in the series. He's been the best Twins hitter. An error has been charged to Timlin. Knobloch takes the strike.
And Dan Gladden, Minnesota's best base runner and best stealer, looks at Ron Gardenhire's sign. That would be a possibility in this situation.
Blue Jays have Jim Acker warming up in their bullpen. Aguilera getting set to come in the bottom of the 10th inning for the Twins. There's a strike 2 to Knobloch. Puckett is on deck for the Twins. He has 2 hits tonight.
Knobloch looked at Gladden as if to say, hey, I took a couple for you to steal. Now I've got to swing.
Gladden's a good base runner, perhaps the best all-round base runner that the Twins have, even though Knobloch led the team in stolen bases. Still 0-2. Mike Pagliarulo with a pinch hit home run here in the 10th inning has untied this game. Twins scored 2 in the first inning and have been shut out since the Blue Jays scored 2 in the first inning and have been shut out since then. There goes the runner, and the pitch is bounced right to Olerud, who steps on the bag. So there are 2 out. Gladden now is at second base. We're at the SkyDome in Toronto, where it's gone very silent all of a sudden. One time when Carter hit the home run and Maldonado doubled home a run, the Blue Jays took a 2-0 lead in the first. The Twins came back, though, on a triple and a fielder's choice in the 6th. Kirby Puckett with an RBI single tied it up, and then Mike Pagliarulo here in the 10th inning to give the Twins a 3-2 lead. And here's Kirby Puckett, who's 2 for 4 with a double and a single and an RBI. Gladden is on at second base. Chance to get a big insurance run for the Twins. 0-1 to Puckett.
Likes late nights.
And late innings. Got a fastball up and fouls it off. No balls and 2 strikes. Looking ahead to the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 10th inning. It'll be the 4, 5, and 6 hitters. Olerud, Gruber, and Maldonado. No one has gone to bed in the hotel.
A lot of voicemails.
Better start with some all-night room service. No balls and 2 strikes to Kirby Puckett. 1-2 now.
You mentioned the quiet crowd. This game, I think if you're a fan, a manager, a player, even when it's over, is almost a numbing game. It's had so many highs and lows for just a 3-2 game.
Fastball swung on and missed. But Pagliarulo's home run has given the Twins a 3-2 lead as the Blue Jays come up in the bottom of inning number 10.
For those of you who do it alone, who stand by a loved one with Alzheimer's disease, now there's someone to stand by you. The Alzheimer's Association.
Is the only life we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No,
We have support groups where you can get in touch with your feelings, and community services and research that can put you in touch with the facts. Hopefully, one day, the cure.
And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble.
To reach your local Alzheimer's Association, call this number. Someone is there now to stand by you.
The action-adventure sexy show you've been waiting for, Real Sexy, is coming next Friday to CBS.
Hey!
The Palace Guard.
The Minnesota Twins are 3 outs away from taking a 2-1 lead in this American League Championship Series. Mike Pagliarulo, who homered in a pinch hitting role to break the tie, is now the third baseman. Brian Harper replaces Ortiz behind the plate, and Rick Aguilera is in to try to pick up his second save in this series.
Aguilera coming over in that trade we talked about earlier for Frank Viola. The plan to start with is possibly making Rick a starting pitcher, but he has now settled into the closing role. Equally effective against lefties and righties, and he'll see at least one left-hander in this inning.
We were tied, and the man who silenced the crowd in a big way was veteran Mike Pagliarulo, one of the free agent pickups by Andy McPhail. A line shot over the fence. Rob Ducey leaping in vain.
Kind of ironic if that were to be the game winner, because when the Twins signed Mike Pagliarulo, they thought they were getting a home run hitter who would hit for a low average. But all year long, with Terry Crowley's help, he has been an average hitter with very little power, except for that at bat.
Mike Timlin gave up the home run ball, so we have just had 2 homers in this series, one by Joe Carter in the first inning for the Blue Jays, Pagliarulo in the 10th. And here's Olerud to lead off the 10th. Olerud singled against Aguilera in the 8th inning of game number 1. Strike 1, fouled off to the left.
Contrast in manager strategies. You notice Minnesota not guarding the line. Tom Kelly said, I don't think John Olerud can pull Rick Aguilera that well. Conventional straight-up defense.
One and one to Olerud. Olerud went after a pitch way up in the strike zone, and the count is 1-2. By the way, Pagliarulo's home run off of Timlin was only the 4th extra inning pinch hit home run in postseason history. You have to go back to Dusty Rhodes of the Giants in '54, John Lowenstein of the Orioles, and George Vukovich of the Phillies. One-two pitch and a ground ball sharply hit to Knobloch, playing very deep at second, and there's one away. Well, our crew has given you tremendous shots. We want to congratulate our camera crew for the great job they've done, and other people as well, such as the coordinating producer of Major League Baseball on CBS, Rick LaCivita. Tonight's telecast was produced by Bob Dekas and directed by Bob Fishman. The senior producer of CBS Sports is Ed Gorin, And the executive producer of CBS Sports is Ted Shaker. Thanks, guys.
Boy, isn't that the truth? Great shots, great action.
Here's Kelly Gruber with one out. Ball one. He's 1 for 4. Couldn't stop his swing. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kelly.
See the first 2 pitches breaking balls. Mike Timlin looks on. Gruber has one thing in mind, as Pagliarulo did. Hope I get a fastball on the inside half that I can turn on.
Fastball, and it's popped up. And Harper banged into Kelly Gruber at the plate. He makes the catch in fair territory, but in backing up, Brian Harper banged into Gruber, who didn't see where the pop-up went.
Old spring training drill. Gruber got his pitch inside. See Harper immediately mask off, turn the back, because the ball is going to spin backwards into fair territory. Got his pitch and just got under it. And Harper reacts quickly and maintains his balance.
The Blue Jays are down to their last out. Candy Maldonado with 2 out, nobody on base here in the 10th inning. Twins lead 3-2. The Blue Jays have left 10 men on tonight, 7 in scoring position, and did they squander opportunities in the middle part of this game? But not all the Blue Jay fans have given up. It's a high fly ball, and this should do it. Kirby Puckett in center field makes the catch, and the ball game is over. Mike Pagliarulo's pinch hit home run in the 10th inning has given the Minnesota Twins a 3-2 victory, and now they lead 2-1 in the American League Championship Series. And this thing is going to go back and forth, 1-run games, I'm sure. Jim Cott, relief pitching.
Tom Kelly's reminisced about the games. They win, Minnesota wins, back and forth. The pattern continues.
Guthrie will win it. Timlin, the losing pitcher, and Aguilera picks up the save. Final score: the Twins win it 3-2, and we'll be back to the SkyDome in just a moment.
Brought just the essentials, huh? What? I think they'll have shampoo there. But I have Head and Shoulders. We're just going to be gone a week.
Right, a week. Let's say it's the end of the week. We're rested, a little sunburned, and this stunning brunette sits down beside us. And that's the day your flakes decide to show up.
Well, how do you know when they'll show up?
Doesn't matter. Head and Shoulders helps take care of the condition that causes flakes. Because you never know. You know?
Head and Shoulders, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Where do you want to be next year?
You know, I don't plan to be a partner in this firm forever. In fact, I've been doing something on the side that could be very rewarding. I have an offer to work full-time with some kids. Pays $11,000 a year. How can we restructure my portfolio so I can tell them yes?
You can get there from here with Shearson Lehman Brothers.
Pat O'Brien takes you around the NFL.
A usual commercial-free mix of sex, lies, and videotape with a smattering of rock and roll.
On the NFL Today.
Twins win it, and the Chevrolet player of the game is Mike Pagliarulo. With his home run in the 10th inning, Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in his behalf to the Special Olympics, and right now he's with Leslie Visser. Leslie?
Mike, you're only in the game for 2 pitches, but you certainly made one of them count.
I'll tell you what, you know, I wasn't in the game very long, but it's pretty much the biggest game of my life.
What were you looking for in the pitch?
I was just looking for a ball over the plate. You know, he throws a ball.
We're going to show it to you in a minute. Why don't you take us through it?
Okay. Well, he just throws a ball that sinks away, and I just bury my head on the ball. That's it. That was the only thing going through my mind, just one thing. And, geez, I almost missed first base after I hit the ball. I was so excited going around the bases.
How critical critical is this win? You've come up here to the SkyDome.
Well, you know, they're a tough team, and they're taking every bit of emotion out of me. I know that, and this is a real tough place to play. So, you know, if we can just play them tough all the way through, then and get them back to our place, and we'll be all right.
Well, congratulations. See you tomorrow. Up to you, Dick.
All right, Leslie and Mike, thank you very much. The biggest game of his life as the Twins win it. And so for Jim Cott and Leslie Visser, I'm Dick Stockton saying so long from the SkyDome. Once again, the final score, the Twins 3 and the Blue Jays 2. Don't forget to join us tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern for Game 3 of the National League Championship Series between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Atlanta Braves. And tomorrow night, prime time at 8 o'clock Eastern, it's Game 4 of the American League Championship Series when these same teams meet again, the Minnesota Twins and the Toronto Blue Jays.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 3 of the 1991 American League Championship Series is brought to you by Toyota and their quality line of 1992 cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Lennox, for quality heating and cooling, must be a Lennox. And by Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers, the best hamburgers and a whole lot more.
Watching Major League Baseball on CBS Sports, home of the biggest games in baseball, the League Championship Series and the World Series. Pags hits the homer to win it. But let's not forget West, Willis, Guthrie, and Aguilera, the Twins relievers who did not give up a run in 6 innings. The story